right, good evening. It is 6:30 p.m. and I would like to call the May 29th, 2022 special board meeting for the 2022-23 proposed tentative budget of the Niles, Maine District Library to order. Victoria, will you be taking the roll? Okay, would you please call the roll? Thank you.
Trustee Gerblick?
Yeah, here.
Trustee Schoenfeld? Here. Trustee Makula?
Here.
Trustee Rosansky? Trustee Olson?
Here.
Trustee King?
Here. Thank you. Item 3 on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Could we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, I will reiterate the rules for our board meeting. As the board president and presiding officer, it is my responsibility to preserve and maintain
Point of
decorum
order.
at all times during official meetings of the library board.
Who are you speaking to?
As such, this board will not tolerate outbursts and
demeaning this
interruptions
is
during
for
our
our-
meetings. I'm asking that each member of the public respect that and to
The
conduct
public
yourselves
knows how to
accordingly.
behave.
Public participation and comment will be
Call for
permitted
order of the
during
day.
the public comment portion of the agenda, consistent with library rules. Remarks shall be made from the speaker's podium only. Abusive and profane comments will not be permitted and will promptly be ruled out of order. If you persist, you will no longer
Very
be allowed to speak.
disrespectful for the
The board
community.
vests in me, as the board president, the authority to terminate the remarks of speakers who fail to adhere to the rules. Individuals addressing the board must at all times adhere to the library policies and other rules as may be necessary for the efficient and orderly conduct of the meeting. All public comments shall be addressed to the board as a whole, and no comments shall be addressed to individual members of the board, library staff, or other members of a public body. Thank you.
Not on the agenda, was it? No, I don't see it.
Okay, item 4 on the agenda is public comments. Cindy, would you please call the first person for public comment?
Tisha Dowdy.
Public comment is beginning at 6:33 p.m.
Good evening, thank you. My public comment has nothing to do with the budget. However, I wanted to bring it up because of the recent events that occurred in Texas last week, where 21 people got shot dead in a school. School shootings have become more frequent in public places outside of just schools. As of recent, a grocery store on the East Coast, churches in California and Texas. I am bringing this up because I am curious how prepared this library is if something were to ever occur. I'm sure your staff participates in active shooter drills, which is wonderful. However, if there's patrons in here also that may not know where to go and what the safest area is to go to if such a tragic event were to unfold in this public entity. I don't know if there's any thing online or any training or anything that patrons can view, because I certainly wouldn't know where to go if there were something that came to this wonderful library. So maybe that's something you can research, since this event last week is so fresh on everyone's mind. Thank you.
Thank you.
Elliot Osherman.
Deja vu all over again. Elliot Oshman, the Community Against Retention of the Three Snoozes. All of my comments are addressed to the board. I've given the executive director a copy of these comments for her to distribute ahead of the meeting. Please feel free to follow along. I have my usual 9 declarative statements. I will be either interrupted or silenced nor will we, nor the community. I will remember this, so will we, so will the community. I will vote on April 4th, 2023, against the retention of the 3 snoozes, as will we, as will the community. When he was running for election to the board a little over a year ago, Joe McCullough claimed that the tax levy could be cut by 10% with no loss of programs and no firing of staff. In November, an 18% reduction was passed. No need for staff to be fired. A lot of them left for other libraries and retired. During budget hearings last year, claims were made that this library could be run with $500,000 per month. It has been. It's been run into the ground with reduction of staff and services. When Joe ran, the anticipation was that a scalpel would be used on the budget. It was not. A machete was used. Time for new words. The first, disingenuous, meaning a misleading number or answer. Factually correct, but not providing the most honest answer. For example, if somebody wanted to rent this room and ask for its capacity, the honest, complete, objective answer would be from the Niles Fire Department. It would be 60 to 75, depending how the chairs are set up. But if someone called the board president and she wanted to minimize the perception of the space, she might respond, more than 5. Certainly not enough for a gathering, but factually correct. If it was a group she would encourage to use the space, she might say, well, just a few less than 100,000. Still correct by 99,930, disingenuous. That's what's going to happen during the budget discussions. And the second, obfuscate, a verb, to confuse, giving a long-winded answer in the attempt to razzle-dazzle the recipient. I have provided a copy of the Complete Idiot's Guide to Robert's Rules to your presiding officer with some notes as to page numbers and concepts. Hopefully she'll find it of use. Finally, I found an interesting website. I'll quote from it. NDO Board Policies. The library operates under the premise that customers are our highest priority. We pledge that every contact with the patron will be characterized by fairness, courtesy, and efficiency, and will serve to confirm to our customers that we value their patronage. To ensure that we interact with our patrons and operate the library in a consistent, transparent manner, we adhere to personnel, administrative, and public service policies. Budget and planning. The mission of the Niles District Library is to provide our community with access and guidance to resources that inform, entertain, and enrich. Our vision provides us with clear direction and motivation because we see our library as building a community of lifelong learners who will make Niles their lifelong home. As we plan for the future, we intend to capitalize on the unique value we bring to our community. Our strategic plan focuses on 6 distinct areas: our building, learning, community, marketing, traditional library services, and librarians and leaders. Doesn't sound familiar, folks? It's from the Niles, Michigan District Library website. Maybe you can learn from them. Hopefully about now, Secretary of State White will show up soon and tell you who your 7th board member will be. Oh, one more thing. We want Umar. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Elizabeth Lynch.
Hello, my name is Elizabeth Lynch. My pronouns are she, her. A few years ago, one of my sons developed a stutter. It was so bad that he would break down crying because he couldn't get his words out. It was heartbreaking as a parent to watch him struggling, to see him unable to communicate his thoughts and needs to us. But I didn't know where to turn for help or even what kind of help was available. It was a children's librarian that told us we could not only get a free screening, but income-based speech therapy through the early intervention program. They told us who to call and what the process would be like. We were connected with an amazing therapist we could afford. We learned that part of his therapy was done at home with us, his parents. But we needed picture books, and not just any picture books. We needed books that could sustain his interest through the entire therapy session every night, but that had a special combination of pictures and words to pull out the very specific kinds of speech we were working on. Even the therapist could not help find the right books, and this is something you cannot Google. It was children's librarians that helped us find just the right books. Not only did my son regain his speech, but he just performed in his school play. This is just one example of the specialized and expert knowledge in each library department. This is why the suggestion by trustees Derblick, McCullough, and Schoenfeld that staff from any department can just fill in at whatever desk is so absurd. Staff in each department have their own kind of specialized knowledge and experience with books, resources, technology, and literacy development for different ages. Staff in each department go far beyond directing people to the right aisle. They provide one-on-one, individualized assistance. They help people navigate complicated resources, government websites, and forms. They meet every patron where they're at, instructing in a wide variety of traditional and emerging technologies. Staff in each department answer questions like mine that go far beyond general knowledge and make life-changing differences for families like mine. This community needs and deserves the services that only staff with experience and expertise can provide. But right now, if I walked into the library looking for early intervention resources, there might not be any staff member at the children's desk at all, let alone someone with early literacy expertise. The ban on hiring imposed by Derblick, Mikula, and Schoenfeld has left the library that severely understaffed. I have seen these trustees continually ask for more information, more documents, more data, but even with the minutia presented to them again and again, they act dumbfounded by basic concepts of scheduling. Any manager could tell you, you have to account for sick days and days off. The library needs to be staffed all the hours it's open. Staff must take breaks and lunch. Staff cannot be in two places at once, running a program and sitting at the desk. Staff need to meet with their supervisor and collaborate with other staff. And they also need the time to stay up to date on the resources, books, and technologies they are experts in. If it's too hard for you to understand that, you could just trust the repeated explanations from the director you hired and the supervisor she leads. They have years of experience doing exactly this work, and they have told you over and over that they need more staff. But I think we all know that there's no amount of documents or data that will be enough. Even if you spent the entire month holding budget workshops, grilling staff on every minute of their job, it wouldn't be enough. Even if the overworked and demoralized staff pull off the impossible and do more with less, it wouldn't be enough. Library use could soar despite everything these trustees have done to keep it down, and you have been working actively to keep use down. Participation could double over even pre-pandemic levels, and it wouldn't be enough. Even though the open positions have been budgeted for and the money is just sitting there, they won't budge. I don't know what is motivating them, but it is clear that Derblick, Mikula, and Schoenfeld are determined to cut no matter what. But for most people in the community, the what matters. The what is our children, the what is our parents, the what is our neighbors and their families, the what is us, and we deserve the library we used to have just a few years ago. One that has the resources it needs to provide the services that we need. If you cannot do that, then I will repeat what another community member told you at the last meeting. There is grace in resigning. Step down and let someone who cares about this community take over.
Thank you.
Steve Saunders.
Good evening. My name is Steve Sanders, he, him. This evening, you will be discussing and possibly passing a tentative budget for the next fiscal year. A budget is a plan for spending in the future. This is a plan for how you want the library to be ran for the next year. A plan is only as good as its implementation. Last year, the budget implementation was a mess, and the budget that you passed wasn't even followed. The library spent 77% of its budgeted payroll last year. This drop in payroll isn't due to a drop in workload. In-person visits have increased by 67%. PC usage is up by 55%, and staff monitored room usage is up by over 1,700%. Even though in-person library use is dramatically increasing month after month, the library staff continues to dwindle. Total library employment is down by 30% from last year. This loss of staff isn't just the hours lost. It's the institutional knowledge that leaves the door when somebody departs, the efficiency of their years of service to the library. Without replacements coming in, how will our library be able to pass down its knowledge to the next generation of library staff? Another example of poor planning in last year's budget is the legal fees. Year to date, the library has spent 283% of its budgeted legal fees. This isn't even including the missing legal fees from April. You knew about the increase prior to passing last year's budget. This is why you increased the appropriation by more than 6 times the budgeted amount. Normally, appropriations are only double the amount of the budget. The appropriation is a great place to hide expenses you don't want people to see. Not many people know the difference between the budgeted amount and the appropriated amount. I want to reiterate this. The budget you discussed today is the plan for the executive director to carry out. This year, don't hide library expenses in the appropriation, and don't promise to pay employees that you have no intention of hiring. Be honest, be transparent, and be realistic. Give Cindy the resources she requires to run this library. Thank you.
Thank you.
David Sutherland.
Hello, board. What are we doing here? A budget meeting, really? A budget meeting. You guys are doing a budget meeting with 6 trustees? Helen Derblick, this is your responsibility. We need a democratic board to represent the people, to do major decisions like a budget. You understand that? You are the president of this board. You remind us every meeting that you're the president. You remind us every meeting that you're the president and here are the rules for conduct, and you go into so much detail, so much minute detail about how our behavior should be. It's really a fun thing for you. But when it comes to just your regular old big duties to just make the library run, you completely just fall flat on that. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 board members, right? 6? How many are we supposed to have? Right, 7 to have a fully democratic board to represent the people's needs for a budget that's going to run the library. This is not normal. We can't fall into accepting this abnormal behavior these 3 trustees are imposing upon our community. The way you are really wrecking this library. And we told you over and over again, this is not new to you. You relish this kind of stuff, I guess. I don't know what's in your heads. But this is a special meeting. We're talking about a budget. And this deserves 7 trustees to weigh in on this kind of decision making. And Carolyn Derblick, you have the power to do that today, right? You take the power and you do it all the time for all kinds of things. But for some reason, you don't want a 7th trustee. Like, why is that? What's going on, Carolyn? Just one more trustee. Come on, just get a democratic, fully functional board that represents the will of the people, right? Right? We have a lot of Niles folks here. How about like maybe somebody from Maine? Would be nice. I don't know, but you could do that, Carolyn. Why aren't you doing that? Oh. You have an agenda that's higher than your duty as a president, so that's really not fair, to say the least. I know you're really enjoying this. I can see the smirk on your face when you're listening to me. It's kind of neat, but this is your duty to add another trustee to this board. You can do that. You had the power to do that all along, the whole year or so. Olivia, the person you guys ran with, shirked her duties. Saying, what's that about, right? Just ran off and just said, oh, well, see ya, suckers. Good luck with that. Now we're here to pick up the pieces. Library stalled to a halt. The president has the power to install 1 more trustee. There should be 7 trustees. Did you get that yet? I've been saying it a lot. 7 trustees. There should be 7 trustees, everybody. There's only 6. You see what's going on here? I don't know. Like what? What? This is really boring. It's a Tuesday. What are we doing here? Why are we meeting like this? This is ridiculous. It's fun for you, Joe, too. I know you guys love this stuff. Carolyn, you're the president. I mean, you can do all kinds of stuff. You remind us every meeting how you're the president, and you could do all kinds of stuff. That's great. One of the stuff you could do, get another trustee on the board. How about that? Huh? You had people from the community show up, and you disrespected them by not picking anybody. I mean, that's just a slap in the face to our community. Like, what kind of treatment? That's so disrespectful and hostile to our community. Like, how, like these people, you don't care, Joe, but these people really cared about the library. They decided that they're going to do this. They filled out the applications, they did interviews. And for what? Yeah, I know, very sad. Well, I don't think this board meeting should go on. It can't without 7 trustees. I think it's very unfair. It's not democratic. What we're going to save now is library.
Thank you.
That's all the public comments.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda is new business. With respect to the trustees, I once again want to ask all of you to adhere to the rules that govern the proceedings of the board. And please refrain from speaking until recognized. Listen to the other side. Focus on issues, not personalities.
Robert's rules
And
is point of
confine
order.
remarks to the merits of the pending
Put
question.
this stuff in the agenda so we know to expect it.
Refrain from attacking a member's
Thank
motives.
you. Thank you
The
for
measure,
listening.
not the member, is the subject of debate. Your cooperation is greatly appreciated.
Point of
Thank
order.
you.
Call for orders of the day.
5A, the next agenda item is review and discussion of the 2022-23 proposed tentative budget. Tonight's proposed tentative budget will be presented by the treasurer, Trustee McCullough. He will review each line item, explaining amounts based on actual data, cost, and effectiveness. Trustees will be called individually to ask questions or provide input regarding the budget items. We will ask questions at the end of each department budget. Budget questions or input are to be based on factual data and statistics. Probing questions for opinions or personal attacks against other trustees will be ruled out of order. I would like to welcome Accountant Brian LaFever, is that correct? LaFever, to tonight's meeting. As the library accountant, Brian will be responsible for creating our budget and appropriations ordinance. He is here tonight. He will also be able, I believe, to answer questions regarding revenues should they come up. I wasn't really sure. I know you're here to make sure our process is doable in terms of what you need to do with all this information. So I welcome you, and anything we can do to assist, we're here for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
At the end of tonight's budget review, the trustees will vote to approve the 2022-23 tentative budget, and we will now begin. Trustee McCullough, did you
This
pass
is not what we talked about happening at this
something
meeting.
out?
That's not what this meeting was supposed to be.
Did you pass out the tentative
President Derblick, this meeting was not supposed to be that.
budget? This
that's
meeting
not what
is
we
the
agreed
same
to.
meeting it always is.
That's not what we agreed
We
to.
usually
What
have
was
a tentative
this?
budget
What's this
days
for?
before the meeting, so we can go over it. We got this, it was on our desk. I have no clue what he put in here. And it wasn't like it's an accountant, it was Joe McCullough. Who is he? A board member, just so happens to be our president.
Trustee Rosansky, you are out of order.
So what?
I'd like to be out of order and say, why did we have this and we examined for a week and a half?
The ten-
You mean this we're not going to talk about?
If you would allow me to answer your question
Okay,
instead of
please.
ramble,
Please answer it. What is this?
as in the past, The budget is presented. It is input from all the departments. The treasurer went through it based on data to bring up his recommendations. You don't need to vote for them, but he will explain each line item. As in the past, you agree with what you agree with or you disagree. And all you need, all you need
because we had an
is,
accountant back then.
you're out of order again. Can I
Stating a
please
fact,
finish?
Jack.
My understanding for this meeting, when we agreed to it, was that it was for Mr. LaFever to join us and go through the budget. That's what we talked about.
Not for Joe McCullough to come up with his own.
That's what we all,
We're
As
not
in the
looking at
past,
Joe
as in the
McCullough
past,
as
the
we can't
proposed
look at
tentative
this.
budget was presented. That's what we talked about last meeting. It was on the agenda, and all you need to refer to are the budget sheets. There's only,
you're completely ignoring what I'm saying and just talking over it. The fact is, we agreed to have this meeting so that Mr. LaFever could come and present the budget. So let's do that.
Mr. LaFever can't present the budget because he didn't work with the staff to compile or to create it. He compiled the information. It also takes all of your eyes. I'm sure when you got your budget, I'm sure when you got your budgets, all of you asked Cindy for the necessary documentation to justify all of these line items.
You know what? I don't
and
get,
to understand.
I can't get information from Cindy because she is so busy running around for the rest of you that she doesn't have time to answer my email.
Well, actually, I guess that would be the response we all would have for Cindy.
No, it's not. And unless we're going to do
Anyway,
what we
this
agreed
is-
to,
this
then
is-
the meeting doesn't need to happen.
Well, are we going to then just end the meeting? Is that the
I
point?
think we should have our guest speaker speak.
Because did we get this with enough time to even look at it? No, we got it when we sat down.
So do you need additional time?
I
mean, that
would like
was
Mr.
last, that was
LaFever
last
to
month's
talk
request.
like we
We
agreed
spent
to.
10 days looking through this proposed budget. I thought we were discussing this proposed budget.
Because that's all we were given.
How about we have our guest speak?
We're kept in the dark.
Our guest came here to speak to us.
Doesn't
Why don't we
matter
do
if I'm the
that?
vice president.
I am
vice
unaware-
president of, Lululand or something. Because I get no information from them.
Cindy, do you
So,
have anything to
yeah.
add?
So Brian is here to listen to the discussion to make sure that he has everything he needs to create the budget and appropriation ordinance. He's not here to present the budget.
Okay.
He's here to listen to the discussion and make sure that everything that we need to do the budget and appropriation ordinance we have.
That's not what we talked about at our last meeting.
You asked if he was available to come to the meeting, and I inquired, and he's here.
Yes,
I
and the
wasn't
reason
given
that we
any-
wanted him to come to the meeting was to talk about the budget.
Well, he's here to answer questions, but he can't really speak to the budget any more than I could because I gave him the numbers. So,
Okay, once again, we are here to review the proposed tentative budget.
Yes, and that
The
would
numbers will
this.
be, the numbers will be explained as we go down the line items, and whatever your responses or questions are, that's how we'll proceed. So trustee McCullough, would you please begin this process and let us know
Okay.
how you're,
I'm
treasurer
starting
never did it
with
this way.
Material Service Department.
so we're going to be following the departments? Is that how we're doing this?
Well, I put them in
So
some,
we aren't doing it according to this that we originally got?
All right, if you would stop interrupting, please let me speak.
I have no interest in
I get-
reviewing this tonight.
Trustee McCullough, trustee Rosansky, please. Trustee
gave-
McCullough.
I gave everybody a package, the first,
Today.
today.
I think
Okay,
that we
yes.
need to
The
discuss.
the
what
order in which they're in the
information
package,
that
the
we were
department
given.
order is the Material Service Department is on top.
Oh, it is? Okay, material, could we
I
all
am
refer
not
to
gonna
material
go
services?
through a new
I'm
package.
checking with the.
You can compare the two. So trustee McCullough, please begin.
Okay, the first category there
Not
is
gonna agree.
expenditures on salaries. I came up, you can see we came up with a number of 415,000. It's slightly greater than the
What
current.
page is it
Why is
in
this
here?
not public
Material
information
services.
either? This needs to be posted on the website so the public can see it. They haven't even seen the proposed budget, and now there's a second budget, and it hasn't been put out for the public.
I don't think we can go through this.
President Derblick.
So we've got a separate thing for each department.
But there's none of the budgets, the proposed or this new one, has been posted on the website.
Oh, of course not.
So how are we going to be doing this?
Well, we are continuing right now because that's why we are in a meeting. We're here to
Why-
review.
Isn't there
brand
something
new
that we have to
budget?
have that information on the website for the public to view before we can do anything?
That would be my perspective. But trustee McCullough, please continue.
So you're just breaking the
A
rules?
brand new
I'm not
budget.
breaking the rules. I don't post to the website.
So you're going to overlook
Please
the rules
stop
being broken.
interrupting,
You're
though.
going to overlook
Trustee
the rules being
McCullough,
broken.
please continue.
You please stop
The-
ordering something that's
The
wrong.
detail,
Does it?
the detail on the salaries is on page 3.
Hold on. She's confused.
I'm just asking, because you're telling us to compare. What am I comparing it to?
Material services is the first department that needs to do.
Just do the entire library, because we're not going to go through all
Maybe you
this
could give us a
tonight.
summary, Joe, so we could leave sooner.
Yeah, just give us a summary of the entire library.
Oh.
That I see
Oh,
here
so
is
he's gonna-
$2 million less. So, forget it.
All right, please continue, trustee McCullough.
Page 3 of my
We're
material.
not listening.
I'm listening.
Joe, please start from the beginning.
Page 3 of my presentation has the detail on the salaries. It includes everybody that's on the roster, and it comes out to $415,000.
How did you get that,
Which
Joe?
one?
I,
Which one
page 3 will show you the detail. It's everybody that's currently employed.
Why, I see, but why, I don't understand why your penciled in information is so much less than the other. And
Because
excuse me,
people are in
Joe,
different,
What about status quo with employees? Aren't we supposed to keep everything status quo because of the union coming in?
yes,
Weren't we told that?
yes.
Then why are you changing it?
I'm not changing anything.
Oh, cool. I see it
Except
in
for
black
every
and
line
white,
on the
Joe.
budget.
You
The
changed
the
it.
penciled in numbers there show you what pay grade, how many people are in those pay grades. We have grade 4, 5, 6, and then we have the supervisor and assistant. Next is they asked for 15,000 in supplies, and that's what I put
The one
down,
that says
and
material services.
processing,
Yeah, I got it.
there's no change there. We didn't, as of last year, we didn't have professional development in this department, and we still don't.
That's enough for me.
They
No
requested
professional
1,500 in office supplies, and that's what I put on this budget here. And subscription and dues is the same as last year. We didn't pay
You know
for
what,
the
Joe?
employees'
First
subscription and
of
dues.
all,
Please do not interrupt until he's
let him
finished.
talk then. We'll let him talk, because personally, until.
Please
he
do
finds out,
not
I'm voting
interrupt.
no. Because this shows the disrespect of giving it to us today. And looking at what he crossed off and marked 0, no professional development, wasn't that also one of the things the lawyer told us we needed to consider? Seriously. I'm tired of this. We put up with this last year because we were 4-3. We're 3-3, I vote no.
What line item are you on?
Pardon?
Okay, let's take a vote if we want to accept
All
this or
right.
not, yes or no.
It-
Let's just-
The total expenditures on this proposed budget are $432,000. The department was asking for $482,000. Most of that difference is with adding personnel.
He's gonna talk anyway.
You know, when you guys are ready to play nice, you can call us back.
Yeah,
Until
call us
then,
back when
I'm
you're
done.
ready to actually.
You want to cooperate, you got to let us know what the numbers are
You
ahead of
give
time.
it to us the last minute and you expect us to just go along with it, ain't happening.
The next department I'm going to cover is
I
IT.
left my purse.
Thank you for the rubber band, I could use it.
There's no change in salaries or personnel there from last year.
I'm out of here. I'm tired of this.
Please continue. Please continue.
Internet charges are, as they requested, $9,540. Software licenses are $94,580. The detail on that is, Okay.
Oh,
I'll-
Tricia, you're welcome.
Library expenditures, total, or operating? Is that where you are?
Yeah, library operating expenditures, they requested 115,000. My budget calls for 104,000. Some of that is a cut on software licenses that we're not using, or part of it was the one we talked about last time, was it where we reduced the, we talked about reducing the number of computers on that, I don't recall what the.
Adobe?
Adobe, yeah. General administrative, they asked for 8,500 on copiers. That's 100, we're with that. Everything in that department except for consultants is the same as the head of the department, the supervisor, asked for. Building and equipment
All right,
maintenance.
before you, oh, not, go ahead, sorry, go ahead.
Building and equipment maintenance, repairs and improvements, he had down 0. I went through his data, and he didn't fill this in, but on the supplemental sheets, I found we have $4,000 in repairs and improvements. The same situation with equipment maintenance, $9,000. He had 0. We're adding 9,000. Non-capital expenses, we're adding 7,000. He had 0. So that comes up to 20,000. The total budget we're proposing is $267,670. The supervisor proposed $277,770. There's a $10,000 difference between the two budgets. Most of that is in the software that was deleted.
All right, I have a question. Consultants is down to 0. Was there
What
backup identifying consultants?
What I did is I put all the consulting into the administration account.
Oh, okay.
All
Got
of
it. It's an admin.
Instead
All
of
right,
each
thank you.
department having a little bit of consulting here, there, and the other one.
I got it. All right, thank you.
The next department is adult services.
All right, 1 second. All right, thank you.
If you follow along, again, the same situation. We have the payroll matches the current employees, and that's currently it's $547,000 annually. Library materials, we're pretty much about the same. If you go down the list here, we're at the same as we were last year. And our circulation is minimal. It's about half of what it was a year ago. I'm sorry, prior to COVID. So on one of the pages in the back, I had the circulation from this department. Original borrowings annually, if you extrapolate the numbers, you come to 75,000 books annually from the adults department, 5,000 magazines, 16,000 multimedia, that would be books on tape and et cetera. And then multimedia visual would be DVDs, 50,000. So annually, original borrowings are 146,000 in this department. Going back to this budget here, the second page has support for programs. We have 21,000 for adult programming and support, which this year it's projected only to spend 17,400. We budgeted 20,000, so we're up 1,000, but we didn't spend that much. We're like 4,000 or 3,000 down from what we budgeted last year. We also included the what they asked for is $5,000 in performing rights, and that's what we have here on this budget. For capita grant is the same, and the library operating expenses are they budgeted for $46,000. 150, we're at 42,100. That's a $4,000 difference. The difference is almost entirely, they were increasing the programming by 25%. General and administrative costs. Professional development is the same as last year, 0. Collection is 3,500 and is what they asked for, professional collection. Office supplies 800, they asked for that. Postage and freight 1,000, they asked for that. Subscription and dues is $90. Total general administrative is $6,740. My tentative budget calls for $828,940 in this department, and they're asking for $975. A lot of that is, the bulk of that is in salaries, and there's detail on the following in the whole package.
All right, I do have a question regarding programming and support juvenile.
That's not in this department. This is for adults.
Oh, I see. So that's why they're all zeroed out.
It happens to be.
I get it. Okay, I was just wondering where those figures were.
It's apparently a form they use in the juvenile department. They zero out the adult numbers.
I understand. Okay, thanks for that explanation. Trustee Schoenfeld, do you have any comments? No? Okay, thank you.
The next department is digital services. Again, we're at, with the current staff, it's $256,000 for salaries and downloadables and databases. The library materials we're funding them 100% at what they're asking for because there's more activity in the electronic and the ebooks and that sort of thing than it's a growing area. Operating expenditures, software licenses, we're funding them at 100% what they're asking for, and program and support 100%. And for capital grant is the same as they're asking for. Okay, so total library operating expenses, we have here $27,987, and they're asking for $28,055. It's less than a $100 difference that we're separated by here. The last category, general and administrative, we have $700 for office supplies, and the other area they asked for was professional development, and they didn't have that last year, and we didn't offer that this year. Next department is.
Before you move on, I have a
Yeah.
question. Okay, the first page regarding programming and support for adults. You said it was the same 5607, but I'm seeing 5675. So should that be changed?
Program for adults,
Yes. Should that be changed?
that's the second page.
The first page, digital services
Oh,
on the
digital
bottom.
services. Oh, I think you're looking at adult services. Digital services.
Programming and support adults.
Right, that's what they asked for.
No, I think they asked for 5675. See, look in their amount was 5675, and you apparently
Oh,
wrote 5607. Did you make that
all right.
adjustment?
That's okay, I see what happened.
All right, thank you. So that'll go back to 5675.
That goes back, so then the number's equal.
And yeah, right, and then it changes, and then the balance or the total should be equal as well.
It would, the balance there, yes.
All right,
All right,
28055.
It's a $98 difference.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Next department is youth services. Again, I have the detail of on about the fourth page, the current employees, and we have the various grades broken down there, and the total salaries we have with current employees is $525,000. Next area is material. Books juvenile, $70,000, which is a little slightly greater than last year by $2,000. Books teen, the circulation on teen books is not even $1,000 a month. And that area I cut back on to $11,000 from $15,000. Periodicals is the same as they asked for, $1,540. Audio video youth, that would be ebooks and that sort of thing. They asked for $31,650. We have $31,650 on the budget. And audio visual video teen, again, that's an area where the circulation hasn't been, the teens haven't been taking much material out of the library. They might be here, but they're not taking any material out. So that was cut to $5,500. We've only spent $3,700. We're projected to spend $3,700 in that category anyway. So we're $1,800 higher than projections. Next category is operating expenses. $1,000 in supplies they asked for, and that's what on here. Programming and support juvenile. Last year we had 29,000. This year we're at 30,000. They've only spent 22,000, so we're probably about 7,000 or 8,000 over what they actually spent in this tentative budget. Programming and support teen. Last year we had $6,400 basically, and we went up to $6,500. So programming, library operating expenses are in this tentative budget $37,500. Most of it is in programming. General and administrative expense, professional development, same number as last year. Office supplies, $2,000, what they asked for. Subscription and dues is $204. It's less than they asked for. They asked for $1,500. And we come out with a total expenditure for this department at $684,394. And I have some okay, we'll go on to the next department. Administrative services, salaries and payroll are, we have the two assistant manager positions at $160,000. I cut that back to one at $90,000, and other than that, it stays the same. So we have $317,000 in salaries in the administrative department. And CCS charges of $90,000. That's what we what was asked for. Software licenses, again, all of that's $19,600. That's what was asked for. Record storage, $3,000. That was what was asked for. Per capita grant, $60,000 as asked. Other expenditures, $8,100 as requested. Volunteers, $2,500 as requested. The next category is general and administrative. Professional development, $2,760 rather than the $3,000 they asked for. Mileage, $200 as asked. Professional collection, $4,000 as requested. Legal fees, $200,000 as requested. Consultants, $40,000. Accounting service, $60,000 as requested. All of these are as requested. Office supplies as requested, 4,400, 3,000 in postage and freight as requested, 1,400 in publication and notices as requested, 2,760 in subscriptions and dues. And I believe that might be the same as the professional development because the numbers are the same, so I'm not sure. Telephone, 9,460 as requested. Trustee expense, 3,000 as requested. Payroll service, 17,000 as requested. Bank fee, $2,500 as requested. And we get a total expenditure of $851,180. And the request was for $922,189. The difference in almost entirely is the request for a second assistant manager, or assistant director, I guess.
I have a question.
Yes.
So the category on the first page for payroll was department managers,
Yes.
and how many?
I assume that would be for an assistant director. Is that what that number was for?
Yes, that's what they were always labeled managers, grade 2.
Okay, and that was for 2 assistant directors? Is that the 160? That was the reason, or no? What was?
Well,
Yes.
yes, it was to fill those vacancies. I don't.
Okay, so my question is, so I know the terminology has changed from year to year, but we had a business manager and an assistant director, and then at some point, the business manager was then labeled as an assistant director. So would those be the 2 positions in this department manager's category?
So actually, even going back, researching this, the business manager was always a grade 2. Oh, they're the same. That's why it's lumped under managers. Probably it's grade 2.
Okay.
So the titles, I'm not sure.
Well, that's okay. I just get confused because I don't know what.
It would be 2. It would be 2 people at grade 2.
Okay, and one would have been the business manager, and one is the assistant director
Right.
position.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I'm not exactly sure the configuration of the administrative department at this time, but I think there's definitely enough work for 2 people to fill those 2 positions.
Okay, but the way I'm looking at this is the business manager's position was replaced with accounting services. So I'm looking at the amount in accounting services because our request for an accountant was to take on all of the business manager's responsibilities.
Well, they didn't know. The accountant is taking on the accounting part of the business manager's position. But the business manager did other things besides just accounting.
And that would be overseeing departments, is that what I'm?
Mhm.
Okay, so in terms of the dollar amount though, is 60,000 accurate for accounting services? Because it looks like 2 department managers would be 80,000 each, but is that the way, are these numbers correct? That's all I want to be sure.
Well, the vacancies were filled with the base salary plus 10%, and then the 1.4 cost of living. So that's where the 160 comes from. It's 2 vacancies filled at the salary schedules, grade 2 base plus 10% plus the cost of living of 1.4. The estimate for the accounting services was requested, and that was the amount that I was given.
Okay, and then, so then just to go back to the business manager who was overseeing departments, what percentage of his job would you say that was when considering the accounting aspect of his position?
Well, I really can't say, but he was overseeing, Greg was overseeing 3 departments, IT, maintenance, and marketing, and patron services. So he was overseeing 4 departments. So yeah, I'm not suggesting that somebody be plugged into that position. I'm saying that I need the help in administration to do an assistant director's position and some other sort of office position.
Okay, and you're thinking of another full-time position?
Yeah, 2 full-time positions.
I see. Okay, all right, well, thank you for that explanation. Okay, shall
So
we?
the next category
Yes.
is patron services. Again, we have salaries based on the current staffing, and it comes out to $411,000. And they requested professional development of $500, and they had 0 last year, and that's what we had this year. And I don't know why they had legal fees. They're asking for $60, but I zeroed that out. I don't think they'll have any need for legal fees.
The legal fees are actually the notary.
Is that separate from our regular attorney fees? That would be in administration?
It's them getting their notary license or whatever.
Well, that's on the next page. That's $69 for the notary license. The next page of that.
Oh, yeah, that's the background checks. Legal fees, background checks go into legal fees.
Background checks
Oh,
for.
it's for background checks. Okay, well, all right.
Background checks for,
I don't know. I'd have to look it up. I don't know. We
I
put,
thought background checks were part of HR, which is sort of part of Lisi. I'm confused.
well, I don't know. I'll have to go and look up
Who
who
are
got a
they
background check.
background checking?
I don't know. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, please, just so we can, I think it would be good to have it all, and if there's a category, then for the entire library, and I know admin usually picks up a lot, it should probably be in there, especially if it's an HR function, but it could be something else. So whatever you can help us understand, that would be great.
They're requesting $6,231 in postage and freight, and that's what we budgeted for them, and $69 to renew a notary license, and that's what we budgeted. So we're at 6,300 in general and administrative costs. Our budget allocates $417,300 for this department, and they asked for $509,000, but almost entirely, all of that is the difference between adding vacant positions.
Yeah, so it's $60 in legal because she's asking for 6 new people, and they would each have to have a background check. So that's $60 for the background checks for the new people that she's requesting is budgeted.
Okay, got it, thank you.
Okay. But can we just stop a minute and tell me translate this roster for me and tell me what positions you're authorizing her to hire?
Pardon?
How many positions are you authorizing patron services to hire? Can you translate this roster for me?
Further down in the, we're not adding any positions. We have the current staff right here. This is what it comes out to. The $411,000 is the current cost of staffing.
Oh, so you're not adding any staff to patron services?
Not on any of these, no,
Oh,
at this point. And the last department is maintenance services.
which one, maintenance?
Again, the last department is maintenance services. The salary numbers are the current numbers for the staff that exist, and a position for, we've set, allowed the $66,000 for the potential supervisor we haven't hired yet, so that position is there. Currently, we're paying Rich, which would be less than that amount there, so it's covered. We go on to janitorial supplies. Currently, we expect to use about $25,000 this year at this point, and that's what we budgeted for. They were asking for $36,000, which is $11,000 more than budgeted. We've actually, to date, till March 31st, spent $18,000 in that category only. Mileage, $100, they asked for that. Consultants, we consolidated that into the administration account. COVID supplies, they asked for $6,000. We gave them $6,000. And the total is $162,100, and they were asking for $244,000. The difference is mostly in the consultants and a slight difference in the salaries. And then we have the two summaries.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I don't recall going over PR and marketing, even though you said it.
Oh, did we miss that one?
I don't know. I thought when you said PR and
Oh, here it
marketing,
is.
we ended
Here
up
it is,
really
okay.
in, okay, thank you.
Yeah. One more. It was stuck in here. All right. PR and marketing, the salaries are the same as requested. There's no change there. Okay, and then library operating expenses. The printing, they were asking for 12 pages. We're at 8 pages, and that's the difference there, the $8,000 difference on the newsletter. Program support events, that's the same as they requested, $2,800. And total library operating, our budget calls for $33,735. They're at $41,000. The difference is entirely in the staying with the 8-page newsletter. Professional development is 0 as last year. Mileage 0. I don't know why they asked for that. Promotional expense, they asked for $14,885. We have $13,485. There was we eliminated some tote bags that were going to be borrowed. That we're going to pay $3 for tote bags, and we're going to borrow them just as books, and that was canceled. And the branded pens, which were, I think, $300, I think that was knocked off of there too. And that's the difference there. Postage and freight is as asked for, $9,050. And we come to a total on general administrative expenses, $22,535. They were requesting $26,435. And that difference is mostly in professional development and the promotional expense. They requested $232,494, and this tentative budget is $221,270. So we're about $11,000 difference. That's about a 5% cut. Sure.
Regarding the actual program from the 40 down on page 1 or 2 on the PR marketing,
Yeah.
our actual trifle, wasn't it on the pages?
No, it's 8 pages. You have to have multiples of 4. It's a large sheet that on both sides and staples in the center. And then the last two, all of these departments, there's so much detail. I mean, we could sit here for an hour doing all the details. I'm just kind of summarizing them. See, the numbers are here, but there's, in the case here, we have like about 8 pages of detail in the PR and marketing where all these numbers come from. The other two sections I have are the other, which is for the entire library, and the accountant came up with $5,574,425 in expected revenue. And we have first categories, vehicle operation, there's no changes there from what was requested. Employee fringe benefits, no changes. Utilities, no changes. Although there was a notation here that we should increase that amount because of the higher energy costs. But what I have here is what was requested, $105,250. Capital expenditures reserved for the building. The details on that are separately in the maintenance department. It comes to $73,560. Special reserve for equipment is $93,950, and that shows up in, I believe, in IT and maintenance department and one or two other departments with small amounts. Capital projects, equipment, nothing was asked for, and we zeroed that out. So total capital expenditures would be $167,450. And then the next category is audit expense, no change from that, $15,000. Liability insurance, no change, $39,419. All of these are as requested. Social Security as requested, workers' comp as requested, unemployment compensation as requested. And now we get into building and equipment maintenance. And these numbers are derived from the maintenance department. The details are in that department, but we're at $30,350 repairs and improvements. Contractual maintenance is $60,000, but there was a note here that the fire inspection or fire system had gone up $2,000, so it would be $62,000 with that change. I'm sorry, yeah, $62,000. Non-contractual maintenance, $22,340. Again, that's almost entirely in the maintenance department. Equipment maintenance is $9,000. Again, for maintenance and IT. And non-capital expenses, $7,000. That was for some items that might, in IT, that might go out of warranty. But last year, we spent about $4,500, it looks like, with a credit. So $7,000 is more than, quite a bit more than we spent last year. And furniture and fixtures, $800. So on this other, our total number comes to $1,612,067. The number that was in the budget that was put together here was $2,277,000. So the difference is, let's see, about $67,000 of a $2 million budget, or $2 million in that category anyway. I'm going into the other, the entire budget now. This is 6 pages. Again, a lot of that duplicates from what we just went through in this other category. Almost everything else will be in here in some way.
Now, can I just ask you a question under other?
Yes.
Regarding the decreases in I'm looking at special reserve building. Oh, I know what that is. Okay. Special reserve equipment, 123 to 93. Was that something?
The detail of that is in the maintenance and the IT departments.
Okay, I'll look that up. And then under building and equipment maintenance, repairs and improvements from 62,000 to 30,000. Are these, what was decreased? Are these like,
Again, that's in the
and where could I find that? Because I'm concerned.
maintenance department and the IT department. I think mostly in the that one is in the
So it's under
repairs and improvements, that's in the maintenance department.
So are those?
Do you want to go back to
are
that?
those- Yeah, I need a little more detail, but my question is, maintenance is the entire building, correct?
Correct.
All right.
All right.
I'm just trying to figure out what it could be that we
Let's look at
aren't including. So repairs and improvements,
repairs and improvements. 30,000. Let's see what we put out here. Oh, part of it is we had money set aside for repairing the tractor. We don't use the tractor, so that's zeroed out. There's painting and redecorating repairs and improvements. And another line says interior construction repairs and improvements. They both include material and paint and that sort of thing. There's a third line that says envelope grounds and repairs, walls, windows, doors, sidewalks, landscaping. That's in the special reserve.
Right.
That's in the reserve account.
okay, that's true.
So I don't know why it got put in there.
That's fine.
That's a mistake on.
All right, I just needed to understand the
So
difference.
that number, whatever it was, is substantial and it got moved to the reserve.
I see, okay.
That's not an expense, it's a capital improvement. Putting in a new sidewalk is capital improvement.
Okay, and then, non-contractual. What was that included?
Non-contractual.
Gray area.
Yeah, it's got boiler inspection, prepare boiler for inspection.
But we decreased it, and I was wondering, what is it that was removed and why?
Well, we have annual maintenance also, we're paying for these boilers to keep them in shape, and that was set aside for that. This was to prepare for an inspection. We have, I think, is it 3 boilers that need to be inspected? And these are hot water boilers. They're not, I mean, you're going to go just look at all the dials and stuff. I mean, if there's a problem, then it gets kicked into maintenance where you're going to, do replacement.
I understand.
I mean,
Okay.
these things, it's, and 3,000 is even high. Somebody's going to do this. One person will make this inspection in a matter of a few hours. So I don't know why they were asking like $6,000 for it, but we cut it in half. And it's probably way over
All right.
over what it would actually
Okay.
cost.
Thank
I
you.
mean, so if there is a cost, they'll find the problem and then it'll end up as the expense would be in the maintenance part, not in
Okay. That's
the
logical.
non-contractual.
Okay, and then lastly, equipment maintenance.
This 3,000 was not for maintenance because that appears somewhere else.
Okay, and then the last item is equipment maintenance, the difference there.
Equipment maintenance. Oh, is that the $9,000 one you're talking about?
Yes,
Oh, that's in IT. That
Oh.
was the listed as equipment that's out of warranty,
oh, okay, I got it. All right.
and we reduced that. In some cases, if it needs work or something, it's out of warranty. We have a lot of 235 computers, I'm sure and a whole bunch of spare parts. It might be worth more as spare parts than to fix it.
I have a question. Why are we covering out of warranty equipment under equipment maintenance and then under IT, He also has a budget for out-of-warranty parts and equipment. isn't it?
I think that's the same number showing up there, isn't
No,
it?
I don't think it was 9,000. I thought
It
you,
was 7,000, I thought.
right, so.
So we
we're
have
putting-
equipment other than IT equipment that's out of warranty. So it would be, not all IT.
So what equipment would be under this? Equipment maintenance, it's not listed in our budget.
Last year, I think we had costs of $6,000 or something, and then we had a $1,500 credit for some reason. So it was like $4,500 we spent in that category.
Okay, so it's not a duplicate, it's actually two separate groups of out-of-warranty equipment. Okay, that helps. All right, thank you for that. All right, thanks, Joe.
All right, on the last, for the entire library, I think I got up to, we're going over this stuff. It's going to duplicate again. Revenue is the same as we discussed that. Here we have all the salaries consolidated, and we have a total of $2,928,000 in salaries. Library materials, $662,850, and that would be for books, downloadables, periodicals, audiovisual, et cetera, which at $662,000, it's more than 10% of our budget, and it's recommended that it be 10% of your budget, so we're beyond that we're at 11% here. Library operating expenditures, again, these duplicate CCS charges as asked for, processing and supplies as asked for, internet charges as asked, as requested, software licenses. Again, we had that, there's a slight difference there. We discussed that in IT. Printing, we discussed that in marketing. Library supplies as requested. Programming support, again, these are all numbers that we had in the adults and the children's department. Juvenile programming, programming support events, that was in marketing. Programming and support teens, that's in the juvenile, youths and teens department. Performing rights, again, as requested. Offsite storage is as requested. For capital grant, as requested. Grant other expenditures as requested. Volunteers, we put in $500 for that. They requested $2,500. Total library operating expenditures, $435,535. They requested $477,659. General administrative, janitorial supplies, $25,000. That was reduced from as requested, but equal to what we are currently using. Copiers, $8,500 as requested. Professional development of $1,000 rather than the $27,000 requested. Mileage, $400 as requested. Professional collection, $7,950 as requested. Legal fees, $200,000 as requested. Consultants, $25,000 was requested here. I think there's a discrepancy here between the other the consultant numbers, but I thought it was $40,000 that it was on the other sheet.
So there was $40,000 for the IT and maintenance, I believe. We also needed to add money for the strategic planning consultant that's been talked about.
We'll have to go through that
Okay.
because there might be a difference.
So are we saying 25,000 is for a strategic planning consultant?
No, this is for the entire library, and it's not enough, 25,000.
Okay, and we think the 40,000
It's
is
from Rich's budgets.
in IT.
Well, maintenance. I guess it depends. We have to go back through and look at what the projects are that you've eliminated that we would have needed to go to bid. If you've eliminated projects,
Yeah, that's why
then we wouldn't need.
That's why I
consultants.
consolidated that into the administration, so that it would be overseen in one location rather than 3 or 4 different people getting consultants.
So then the consultant line on an entire library is picking up from every consultant line in the departments, correct? Is that what? this is
Should go to administration. I did that.
Okay.
I lined them out and put them in administration.
Cindy, are you-
But I thought it was 40,000 and not,
Okay, so do we need to, do we
25.
need to go back and check that now that we're on this right now before we go any further?
it would be time consuming to go and put
No, we
that.
need to figure it out.
We need to figure it
Could
out.
you just, Brian will tell you what it says here.
Sure.
So there was originally 40,000 budgeted in maintenance, 18,500 in IT, plus 40,000 in administrative services. Those were the numbers that originally added up to 98,500.
Okay, well, I think a lot of those projects were not, they're not in the budget and maintenance. Some of those were wish projects from years back.
Can we go back to maintenance and
Yeah.
Okay,
just
well,
figure
before
out
we-
what numbers are changing?
So in administrative services, you're saying that you're combining all of this. So
I'm putting them all in there.
administrative services, you have consultant at 40,000. So for the entire library,
That would be for the entire library.
but on the sheet for the entire library, it
We
says
have
25.
25,000, yeah, so right now, we need
So
to
it's-
go back and figure out where we
Please
dropped.
compare all these numbers. You also have 25,000 for volunteers on administration, which I was very excited about. And now it's down to
25,000?
500. 2,500. 2,500. Well, 25,000 would be good. 2,500 in administration, but there's only 500 on your entire library sheet.
Okay, so let's go back to consultants. So it was maintenance, I think, Brian, you said maintenance, IT. Maybe we should pull those sheets and figure out.
Maintenance.
So it's maintenance, IT, and then was it admin?
Administration was the other one.
Okay, on the second page of maintenance, actually, I don't know where we can see what was canceled.
Consultants are on the first page. Oh, I see what you're saying. You have detail. It says 40,000. So, and it says you moved the 40,000 to admin, so that's one number. Let's at least get a handle on these, so that's maintenance is
I
40.
zeroed out the consultants on the maintenance department. And it says on page 4, all consultants,
Okay, you zeroed it out because you moved it to admin.
it says all consultant expenditures require board approval. Consultant expenses included with administration budget.
Okay, that's the problem, because the entire library only has 25,000.
That's not adequate, no.
Okay, so it's 40,000 for maintenance.
We shouldn't need 40,000 for maintenance because they hadn't specified where the consultants would be, but they were budgeting for a whole new roof and other stuff that were not in,
So are there new projects that were approved?
yeah, that were not, there were a lot of projects they had in there. I assume they didn't allocate the consultants to what projects or what. He just put in a number
Okay.
of 40,000 just
All
to,
right, so
I
that's,
assume that was for
all
the,
right, so that's maintenance, and then IT services, consultant. You have 18.5, which you're moving over to admin. Is that correct?
pardon?
Under IT consultants, 18.5, which you're moving over to admin.
Yeah.
Okay, and then administration now, here's where I get even more.
Administration.
Where are- Okay, so in consultants for admin are 40,000. Are they for admin, or is that your accumulation?
Accumulation was 90. Was it 98? 98.5 was combining all 3 of them.
Okay, but I think he made adjustments. Okay, the 40,000 for maintenance was removed because
Okay,
that,
well, I mean, which projects did you eliminate from the special reserve building? That's what you're talking about? Because there's no,
Yeah, but he didn't
there's no
allocate,
roof listed here.
he didn't He didn't allocate, yeah, he had it in there. I don't know if it's,
The roof is removed from the budget.
There's no roof in here.
it was on the supplementary sheets.
It's like 500,000.
Yeah, it was 500,000 for a roof or something like that. But he had allocated 40,000 for consultants, but he didn't,
So would that have
he
been,
didn't say what for consulting for what projects or for what.
okay, but
That's,
consultant would have to be for a new project, correct?
yes,
So this would, well, it says here, electrical sub-panel. Did you take that out?
no,
No.
Okay, so he needs projected RFP bids for the electrical sub-panel.
you're
Right.
going to put in a like panel like you have. You don't need a consultant to come in to tell you to put in a panel
Well,
where
it has to go to bid, right? Because of the price? That's the
your
point.
specifications are the same panel with the same input, output, and in the same location, and connect with the same conduits that exist there.
Well, so that doesn't work because that wall is leaking.
Well, they have to take it
Needs to
out,
be repaired.
fix the wall. They can fix the wall in half a day and put a new panel right in the same spot. To move all these conduits, this is heavy wire that barely bends, and to move all these conduits to a different wall, there's
don't
not a
you
square
think we
corner
need-
there.
Don't you think we need an expert to assess it?
I saw the
You're not
area.
an electrician, are you? I mean,
I've done contractor
so-
for that type of work, yes. I
So-
understand it.
So in terms
To
of
move
needing,
to the adjacent wall, there's not a square corner there. I believe there's a offset or something. So it'd be very expensive to move all those conduits. It would triple the cost of doing the job, to move all that conduit around to another wall, and then that wall could start leaking later on too. So you pull it out, fix the wall, they can epoxy the wall. They have new material that dries pretty quickly, and put in a like breaker box in there, and that's it.
okay, but I think the question is, we do need an expert to come in. Maybe the terminology consultant may be incorrect, but someone who is in that field that would come out and would still cost us to give.
yeah, I think that's
Well,
what we're referring to as consultants, is those
Okay,
experts
that's
that
fine.
would
Yes,
manage,
exactly.
consult on these projects
I
that are
understand.
beyond.
So there's definitely a need for a consultant for that project. Okay, so we need to keep that in mind.
That-
And then, are there
right.
any other projects? I'm trying to understand what projects we're discussing to make sure.
I think maybe when they had the roof, they wanted a consultant for that. I don't know. He doesn't specify. He
But
just,
does he have any other new projects? We have this breaker wall, and then we have the roof.
There's,
Wall?
okay, I do not see roof listed here, so I don't know why you keep bringing up the roof. It's parking lot, supply
I
fan,
took-
parking lot, HVAC, BAS replacement, HVAC server room.
are you looking at my numbers or?
I am
his?
I'm looking at the sheet that Rich prepared that had the projects on it. You've taken the projects out on your sheet, so I can't look at your sheet to see what you've eliminated. Because you cut it and pasted it, right? I was trying to look at your
Cindy,
sheet.
could you repeat those projects, please?
Under the building and site consultant, 40,000, used for outside assistance in putting together specifications for RFPs, bid reviews, and project oversight. Projected RFP bids for electrical subpanel, VFD for AHU2 supply, fan, parking lot, which is the total like resurfacing of the parking lot is what, I mean,
Well,
we're
that's
having
another thing.
parking lot problems.
Yeah, that could be, he had repaved the parking lot, totally repaved the parking lot. That wasn't a substantial, that would probably be part of that.
Yes,
big
part
chunk
of
of
that
that.
consulting,
All right,
yes.
I'm sorry, are there any others, Cindy, or are those?
The HVAC server room, which is where the computers are
Right.
stored.
So what was his original request for?
40,000 for consultants,
I'm
For
thinking,
maintenance.
for maintenance.
okay, I'm thinking that number is a logical request. So, Joe, we could go back.
Well, considering that we're not doing the repaving the whole parking lot, and I don't know.
The fact
So-
of the matter is you have to call people in
To determine
address
that,
each one of these. And if, because of the price of the repair, which ends up in an RFP, she's going to need expert opinion.
Well, you know what?
40,000, I think, is, here it is. I don't think the 40,000 is out of line. Just want to make sure we don't lose.
You know what? As long as the board has approval on all consultants, it doesn't matter much. I mean,
Well, the money has to be in the budget.
all right, then we can put the 40,000 in, but it has to go with board approval, even if it's under 5,000.
Well, that would be a new procedure.
A
And it
procedure.
would require a vote, and I would think we would
I
get
think
that
that's
vote.
better oversight than,
It is, but again, getting 6 people to agree may not be.
may not work, so maybe we
But
just
the fact
cut.
of the matter is, we need, back to the subject here, we need the consultants in maintenance. Based on the cost of these consultants, they may end up coming to the board anyway, I don't know, but right now.
I would think a consultant for repaving the parking lot would probably be at least $20,000
For a consultant?
on repaving the
You
parking
need to
lot.
do the work or for a consultant?
The consultant would charge $20,000 to,
Come and tell us what we need to do.
Yeah.
for the parking lot?
yeah, I would think so.
Come on, okay, well,
I
we're gonna
mean,
stick with
look at
40,000.
what we paid for the roof consultants that,
Well, no, that was like a 5-year process. We called everybody in the state of Illinois and Wisconsin.
I think it was
That's not a good example.
54,000
Right, but
they,
anyway, back to consultants for maintenance. So are we in agreement that the number should remain?
it shouldn't be 40,000, I don't think.
40,000, okay.
No,
so
it shouldn't be.
It should not be?
I don't think it should be that high.
All right, let me go
For
back
for
to-
maintenance,
Okay, for the building and site fund, for the electrical sub panel, we need a consultant. There's a fan, needs a consultant. There's a parking lot, needs a consultant. There's an HVAC server room, needs a consultant. So what are we thinking? We have 1, 2, 3, 4 projects. We need consultants, and we think 40,000 is too high.
yeah.
Well, maybe we'll spend less, but we don't, here's the other problem. We never have quotes. A budget really isn't a guesstimate,
Yeah.
it's not a wish list. But I don't want to see 0 put in here. So we have to come up with something.
Maybe, I think 20,000 is within reason,
20,000 and then appropriations is 40,000.
since we're not going to be doing a parking lot,
We are not.
not
doing
this
the
year.
I thought you were going to have the consultant come out to discuss what's wrong with the parking lot.
Are you referring to like the pavers that are?
The flooding that patrons complain about every time we have these big rains, the flooding, yes, the flooding.
That might be a sewer problem, not the parking lot problem.
Well, it's a problem that needs addressed with a consultant.
Well-
We've routed out the drains, we do that regularly.
Sure. Okay, so back to needing consultants.
We can put in the 40,000 and it would just, I think it's awfully high.
Okay. She's recommending 30.
I can go along with that.
Cindy, if we put in 30, appropriations takes you to 60, not that that's the way to go, but if for some reason it's not enough, will that get you through?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we're just trying to get through Joe's numbers and make his adjustments, and then the rest of the board has to come together to discuss it. Just trying to get through his
Exactly,
presentation
so-
and clarify what he's
No, I agree.
needing to change.
So, surely, so for consultants and maintenance, the number would be 30. We're still not in sync for the whole library, so something.
That's just we just finished talking about the 40 that was presented by staff from maintenance.
Yes.
Then there's 18,500 in IT,
All right,
and then there's 40,000 in administration. So add it all together, that's 98,500.
Okay,
Is
in
what
the,
was presented by staff.
thank you. In the 40,000 in administration, can we cover what areas?
Well, that's the strategic plan consultant for one.
How much were you planning for strategic?
The last one we had, I believe, was at least 18,000. I'm not sure. So for 21, 22, oh yeah, this is where we had the, it
We had-
was 115,000, but that included the other accounting firm.
That was the other, yeah, I was going to say, that
Right.
was the,
But that also included the strategic plan for that year. So we've taken the accounting out. And so that leaves 40,000.
I thought we had set aside 100,000 for that other accounting firm.
I don't
We
know.
did.
We did, so that was actually 27,000 in administration. That was what, in effect, be budgeted for.
Okay, so maybe that was the strategic plan, then 27,000. If the accountants were 100,000.
Yes.
And we spent zero on that, I guess, right?
So admin then is 27 for strategic planning. I believe there were recommendations for a consultant for strategic planning in 20, was it 20, 21, 22, the 2020, 21 year. The previous director brought someone in, somebody she knew that that had worked in libraries in the area, much cheaper. But, well, actually, all she was going to do is just duplicate what the previous consultant did, and I remember that didn't go over well. I know she was really busy with her books and things, so she didn't have the time to dedicate to a new strategic plan, so maybe lowering it isn't a good idea. All right, so you're saying 27,000 then for a strategic planner? Do we
No,
think?
last year, the budget was 127,500, it says here. Under consultants?
For administration, we're talking.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Oh, that's entire budget, excuse me.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, after eliminating what we do not need, we need a consultant for strategic planning. She's asking for 27,000 for strategic planning consultant. Thoughts?
Pardon? We need how much?
She wants 27,000 for a strategic planning consultant.
Well, we can set that aside for that. I mean, you know, we would have to approve that.
So, do you have a number you think it should be?
Why don't
A
we,
strategic planning consultant comes out.
you know, and instead of the 98,000 for all the consultants, why don't we just put in, because these are guesses right
We've
here.
already broken down the numbers, 18.5 for IT.
Yeah, and we're talking maybe 30 tops for maintenance. That's 48,040.
So we're now addressing the administration. Did we go with 30,000 for maintenance? Is that what we said? Okay. So now, wow. So now we're discussing strategic planning. Was it, it may have been 18,000 some time ago. You know, they tell us that our staff is going to do all the work.
I thought the staff and the board does a lot of the strategic planning.
Well, that's the way it's presented. I'm not so sure that's the way, I'm not sure what ends up happening. I know it includes surveys. The numbers are extremely low, but I know we pay the consultants for, their expertise and their ability to collect all this information.
I'm okay with the 98,000 as long as the board has approval of consultants.
So 98,000, because I'm trying to get a breakdown, is 27,000 for admin, 18,
That's
57, 60, I'm not getting.
The 98,000 as presented by staff was 40,000 for maintenance.
Okay.
40,000
So-
for 40,000 for admin and 18,500 for IT. That's your 98,500.
we probably should realistically take 30 off of the maintenance, which is what we were discussing. So it would be 88,000 instead of 98. Is that okay? Would that work?
I thought he said 40,000,
The maintenance was asking 40. We thought that was way too high.
but if you take off 30, you're giving them 10. Is that?
No, we're giving them 30. We're taking 10 off of
All
that.
right, all right, so instead of 98,000, the total you're saying is 88,000?
88,000 would sound reasonable.
Okay.
Most of the excess, I think, is in maintenance.
Okay,
We don't need
all
that
right, so
much.
IT stays the same, maintenance is going from 40 to 30, admin is 27,000. Is that 98 or no?
No, admin is 40.
40 in admin,
Thank you, okay.
18,500 in IT, and 40 in maintenance is what was in the staff.
Okay, I got 40,000 here, okay, all right, so I changed all my numbers, and so the only change is 30,000 for maintenance, which is 88,000, for a total on this. Library?
88,500.
Entire library,
88,500.
500?
Yeah.
88,500.
We're just taking 10 off of
Okay.
that.
10,000.
All right,
IT had, what was it, 18,500? Was that?
it doesn't mean you'll spend it. Right, thank you, so it's 88.5. All right, Joe, do you want to continue on an
Continue,
entire
okay.
library?
Next line is accounting service, 60,000 as requested. Kitchen supplies, 500 as requested. Promotional expense, which is in the marketing department, is 13,485. We talked about that. Office supplies, $9,600. I'm not sure why there's a discrepancy there. I think that may have to do with that in IT, there was something that he put down office supplies, but I think it actually turned out to be supplies for the copiers. And I think I didn't make the adjustment there, so that should go to 15,900 as requested.
So it should go to 15.9?
Yeah,
So we're changing 9,600 to 15.9.
right. What it is the IT department is responsible for the buying the paper and the toner for the copying machines.
Okay,
And it seemed strange that they were using all these thousands of dollars worth of envelopes and stationery, but now I see what it is.
okay.
And that corrects that number. Postage and freight as requested, 19,281. Publication and legal notices, $1,400. Subscription and dues, $3,100. 23 requested was 8,500. Collection services, we don't use that anymore. The line should probably be taken out at 0. COVID supplies, 6,000 as requested. Telephone, $9,460 as requested. Trustee expense, $3,000 as requested. Payroll expense, $17,000 as requested. Bank fees, $2,500 as requested. The parking lease is on there that I zeroed out where we don't have that anymore. So total general and administrative, I come up with, without these adjustments, 413,000, but that number is going to be wrong, so we have to add in the difference on consultants and the office supply difference.
So what are those differences?
The difference in consultants is, I had 25,000 and we're at 88,500. So what is that, 63,500? And
Is that, I'm writing it down, so I didn't calculate it, should I, or is that correct?
I'm just guessing, I'm
All
looking
right, I
at.
don't want to guess. So
All right, so we'll come up with a much higher number.
So tell me what the adjustments are so I can,
The adjustments are where the $25,000 is in for consultants, it now is 88,500.
and the difference
Is, I believe, 63,000.
So just, can I have those numbers again? My calculator's finally up. What was that?
It was,
Would you all like me to do the math?
Please, thank you. I thought you were busy and you're doing something. All right, go right ahead, thanks.
I think 63.5 is the difference.
So 63.5 more for consultants and 6,300 more for office supplies.
And this,
is what I heard y'all say.
okay, thank you. And this
Which
number,
so that 413,199 would become 482,999.
thank you. Appreciate it. All right, Joe, what was the other adjustment that needed to be made?
Office supplies,
Okay, and that is,
Change from 9,600 to 15,900. 5 lines down from consultant.
well, all right, am I in the wrong, I see,
On the entire
59.
library,
oh, I see. Okay, so it went from,
9,600 to 15,900.
okay, I have that. Thank you, thank you. And with that number added, our total is still 482, or do we need to add that as well?
I added those two numbers in,
Together.
so it's
All right.
482,999.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Brian.
482,999 or
482,999.
999. Next category is, well, we're at 482,999, and the request was for 536. So we're less. Vehicle operation, $3,854 as requested. And then fringe benefits, $856,000 as requested. Gas, electric, and water utilities, $105,000 was requested, and we put in $105,000. Capital expenditures, special reserve on the building, the details are in the maintenance budget. It's $73,500. There's a sheet there.
Could we, before we go any further, because we've been back and forth with capital or special reserves, could we confirm what was 533? I think we were saying roof, and Cindy indicated roof wasn't
No,
part of.
you're talking about the 73,000?
Right, I'm trying to figure out special reserve building. went from 533,000 to 73,500.
Here, it's on the sheet. Repairs and improvements,
Okay, and then where is that sheet?
that's the second sheet, maintenance, second sheet. Maintenance department,
1 second.
sheet number 2.
Okay, now, these are what you're including, what was removed. I see what you're doing for 73. I'm trying to understand what was there.
I think it was a parking lot and.
No, see, I need to be sure what we're talking about here. So hold on, maintenance is,
So this is, you're looking at the special reserve
yes,
part of
is
this
that under,
chart.
is that under 10? Cindy, what tab is special?
Oh, special reserve build, okay, all right, there's a sheet here that has it.
In
Yeah,
the
so
binder,
it's
Cindy,
under
Here
the
it is.
Maintenance department, the
It's-
original binder.
in maintenance?
It's right here.
Maintenance.
It's in the third sheet in my included, yeah.
The
Special
one you
reserve,
hand wrote, that one?
yeah.
Okay.
It says number 5 on the bottom, but it's not number 5.
All right, I'm looking for what was in
The
the,
533, there's a detailed list.
You don't have.
Here's special reserves, here's what's in
You know
there.
what, it's the second from the end. But
In
in the back
maintenance?
of that section.
With
yeah,
the
on
yellow.
maintenance.
In my thing, it's the third sheet.
okay, I need to see the document from the original budget. Do you have that in your,
I don't have that.
okay,
The last page of
In
maintenance is like a little half sheet that's pretty blank, and the next page has the 533 on the bottom.
3 sheets after that yellow item.
okay, thanks.
I think the yellow
Here it
item
is.
See the very bottom says 533.
Mine says roster, hold on, maybe I went a little too down. No, I'm not seeing it. It's a regular sheet of paper, not one of these super long ones.
I don't know.
I don't see it. Non-contractual maintenance, contractual repairs, and
right after non-contractual.
special
maintenance.
reserve, here it is. Okay, thanks. All right, so Joe, these are the items we just talked about. The exhaust fan is in, right? HVAC,
If you look at the third page, I went
what did
through,
you remove from 533,000?
well, let me list what I have on here. I have 10,000 to replace the sills, the stone sills on the south.
Okay,
On
so are
east-
these different
east-
amounts?
Yes,
Okay, hold on, so I'm looking, I have to locate the item.
So that's part of the 33,000, it's the second item.
Oh, it's part of this envelope repair. Okay, so,
The second line says 10K south and east, replace deteriorated stone sills.
okay. Joe, did you change that amount, did you say?
I changed it to 10,000 for replacing the sills
All right, so that's the
and
same.
including the tuck pointed if needed around there.
Okay, so you're adding the 8,000 for tuck pointing?
Yes,
Okay.
including that. We had that in the budget last year, I believe, that particular item.
Okay,
And it wasn't done.
right.
it was set
Carried
aside.
over, no doubt. Okay, and what else?
Seal the foundation crack in the basement around the,
For 5,000?
for 2,000.
Okay.
That's not a $5,000 job, I know that.
Okay,
I've seen the crack.
thank you. And then,
North and east wall along sidewalk, I'm putting in $5,000 to have some stucco added along the lower brick
okay,
there.
I'm not finding north and east wall.
Well, I'm looking at my sheet here.
So is that in addition?
It might be described differently there.
Okay, let's see, I have,
Something about sidewalk and wall or something.
paving and draining, sidewalks and pavers,
Yeah.
25,000.
Yeah, something like that. I'm not
All
sure.
right, it says 25,000, is that what you have?
I put down 5,000 just for the correction along. What's happening is the salt is deteriorating the bricks. So
Okay.
what we should do is coat that with like a stucco or something and not rip everything out, which is
Okay.
what was planned there. That's not sensible.
Okay, and then
Um,
anything else?
Remove unused exhaust fan, $5,000. That's been there for a
Alright,
long
and
time,
that's-
and it's
and
not
that's
an
the same
emergency, but,
amount. All right, thank you, got that.
okay. Paint digital display sign, I thought 2,000 was be about what it would cost. That's the sign on the corner.
The new sign,
Yeah, the electronic sign.
it needs to be painted, I think.
I wasn't aware of that either. It didn't look like it. but-
Well, the base of it, we replaced the sign at the top, but the whole structure we did not replace.
Oh, okay, I thought the sign, all right.
It's for painting it, it says.
All right, hold on, I'm.
Yeah,
I'm still.
but
trying-
it's the whole base of the sign that was not touched last time.
Okay, that sounds good. I'm still trying to locate it.
Replace secondary distribution panel. That's,
Wait a minute, hold on, Joe.
Paint digital display sign on northwest corner says 12,000.
Oh, it's on the other side. Okay, thank you. And Joe, is that 12 grand that you're, putting in for this?
what's that?
The display sign painting?
For this,
It's only 2,000.
For the display sign?
it's just to paint it.
Okay, that's fine. All right, next item.
Replace the distribution panel in the basement. I believe 15,000 is about the right price for that.
So we're going to get a consultant on that, and then
Well, we'll have contractors come in and give us we're going to replace the same type of box that we have there. And that's the cheapest thing to do, is to use like parts and put in the same input output
Where is it?
instead of upping there's no need to increase amperage or anything there.
Okay, before we move on, so this is, oh, here, north and east repair wall, add flashing and seal for 15 grand? No. Where is this item? Retaining wall drainage system? What are you calling this, Joe?
That's the wall around the parking lot on the west end that,
No, the one that the item you just mentioned,
the
that has to do with,
secondary electrical distribution
that's
panel
the
replacement.
breaker box downstairs.
here it is, for 35,000,
Well, I have it for 15,000.
all right?
That sounds like what it would cost.
All right, I got that. Next item, please.
15,000 to the drain tile is plugged in around the wall there, and it has to be dug up and replaced. Now, how big of a job it is or whatever, it's a matter of they have to dig it up and see how where it's plugged up and where they can clear it. So I set aside 15,000 for it. I'm not sure what they had asked for.
Okay, I see 15,000 retaining wall draining system repair, so that's
So
the same item.
that's the same as what.
Okay, thanks. All right, next, please.
Sidewalks and pavers, re-level the pavers on the west parking lot in the center there and replace the cracked sidewalk by the east door, which was on last year's, the sidewalk by the east door was on last year's budget and never got done. I think they were looking to get bids, but they haven't.
Yeah, well, it's a small job. We haven't been able to get anybody to bid on it yet.
Okay.
All right, I have a question. I already have sidewalks and pavers for 25,000, but you're putting in 5,000. So what are you talking about now?
The sidewalk in the back on the east side of the building by the door, it's maybe $1,500, $2,000 job.
Is it, all right,
I
the
don't
only thing
know.
I see with an east end
Depends how many
is
squares.
North and east repair wall, add flashing and seal. That's not what you're talking about though, right?
No.
2010, I don't know. Cindy, can you help me identify?
No, I don't know.
What he's talking about?
I already had sidewalks and pavers done too. Sites and grounds, so it's not even in special reserve?
So it's not special reserves? No, it's not part of special
No,
reserves?
we already marked that one off earlier.
The sidewalk's not reserves?
No.
That's,
So what is this
Okay.
north and east wall around sidewalk?
So what are you talking about?
That's the stucco, the brick on the wall there.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes,
Joe?
yes.
So it's 15,000 north and east, repair wall, add flashing and seal.
My recommendation is to just put stucco on that, and you don't need to add flashing or anything, just coat it and the brick will be protected.
And it's $15,000.
I had it for 5.
Okay,
It's not the same process. They're going to tear everything up, I think.
so it says repair wall. What's going on at this wall, the north and east corner? Is this water damage? What are we talking about?
No, the salt from the parking lot's deteriorating the lower brick is what I understand.
Oh, okay.
So if we coat the brick with stucco, it'll prevent that from happening.
So there's like deterioration on the wall that needs to be repaired. You can't just, it's disintegrating. You just can't patch it over and expect it to stay there. It's going to disintegrate again. You have to fix it permanently with something that will protect it from the salt next year. Otherwise, this is an annual repair.
My proposal is to take and you get out all the rotten material at the lower end there from the salt, and then you coat that all with a mortar that's like a stucco mortar.
Which stucco is salt resistant? Don't they use
Pardon?
that in Florida? Stucco is salt
It's,
resistant?
just a mortar. They use that on houses all over Arizona,
Well, that's what's
Florida,
out there
California.
now.
Pardon?
That's what's out there now.
Is that stucco or brick that's deteriorating?
It's not brick. I mean, it's below the brick. It's the white
Oh,
panel at the bottom that's deteriorating. Okay, well, anyway, I guess
what are we
we're not going to
saying
get
is
too far on
happening
this.
So,
pardon?
so she is saying that it's not brick, it's the
Well,
bottom?
we can put in the 15,000, and if it turns out that it's less, then it's less.
Okay. So 15K stays. And I seem to see a few other items. Is that all?
No, the veterans benches, my recommendation is not to buy new benches, but to take the wood off of there and put in treated wood, and to go to one of these shops that does decals for trucks and have them put the decals right on top of the wood and put the wood right back in place, new wood.
So the bottom of the metal is rusting out where it hits the cement. So you can make them look pretty, but they're rusting out at the base.
Right, and I've already met with the veterans who were involved with this project initially, and actually the benches are in terrible, terrible shape. And my hope was to have the person who created them initially be the person to come back and recommend what we can do now. I know there's talk about going from wood to plastic, but they're in such bad condition. It's
They're in really bad condition.
They're horrible, and I mean that was a year ago, and every winter it gets worse. So it's definitely a replacement project. I'm trying to find it again. I just can't figure out how
Under
different.
site grounds repairs is the last item there.
Oh, thank you. So 25,000 for, and and hopefully 25,000. I think it shouldn't be lower. What did you have, Joe?
Well, I was just replacing the wood. I wasn't replacing the
Joe,
metal.
if you replace the wood, you replace every single piece of wood.
Right.
They're horrible. So it's best for them to come out. And I know, considering some of them are totally exposed, some of them I think are under some overhang.
Right.
But it's a project that needs to be a complete replacement. If they can save some of it, I'd be shocked.
Are you thinking that the veterans would be the consultants to?
Well, they were interested,
Okay.
and I had the contact, but we had some issues.
I think last time it was an Eagle Scout that.
No, okay. Again, I will repeat what I said before when they brought up an Eagle Scout. An Eagle Scout is great come out with benches are brand new.
Yeah.
Maybe they need some, they need a coating of whatever polyurethane. But right now, this is not an Eagle Scout project.
Okay.
So,
What do you want to put it, what number you want to put in there?
well, there's 25,000. I can't see.
You want to leave
it
that
going-
number there?
Yes, I can't see it going lower.
All right.
Okay, and we are now, I see a few other items here. I see an exhaust fan replacement for 3,000. Is that included in what you're?
Yeah.
So that's 3,000?
I then added some items he didn't have.
Okay, wait a minute. Well, let me go down this list. So 3,000 exhaust fan replacement, then this HVAC building automation system front end control software replacement. Wow. For $30,000.
I zeroed that out
Okay, why do we need to replace it?
because it's still working. It doesn't need to be, if it's running fine, don't replace it.
What are you looking at?
HVAC building automation system front end control software replacement. Replace EOLBAS software and program new software. Is there a problem?
So how do you know it's working, Joe? Because it's
Because
cooling?
the building is cool, those are basically thermostats.
Rich, would you like to come up and comment on that? That's a little more than my expertise. Oh, there you go.
It's end of life
EOL
because
means
how old
end
is
of
it?
life.
Well, when it dies, then it's the end of life.
How old is the system that you want to replace because it's EOL?
1997.
25 years.
So it's
Wow.
better to not wait till things break to have to replace them.
And are we
It's called
repairing?
preventative maintenance and, you know.
Right, exactly. Are we repairing this on a regular basis since
It's,
1997
those are
installed?
controls, they're thermostats.
No, I was asking
It
Rich.
says new software. It's not a thermostat.
No,
It is a software and program new software. BAS.
And the reason to change the
Entire
software,
heating and air conditioning system.
right, and the reason to change software,
So we can no longer get the software supported. And so if there's any kind of issues with the software, it stops working. We can't get service on it because the manufacturer is ending service on it. And so since it's controlling all the hardware that makes the library's heating, ventilation, air conditioning system work, if we can't get service on it, then we would have to probably close the building because it runs the heating and cooling of the building. So
and when you
It's-
purchase new software, what's the service years that come with the software?
however you do in terms of service maintenance.
Well,
So
what
if
do we
you,
have on this one?
I have no idea. There is no software maintenance with us.
So
We
you've
have a
been out of
third-party company that does service on it. I would imagine originally in 1997, when the building was renovated to its current envelope, maybe 5 years they bought, something like that.
So we've never had, so for 20 years or whatever, we haven't had,
So we do updates and we continually update it, but again, we can no longer use the software. And so if we can't use, the software will continue operating until something goes wrong. And then we'll try to get service for it and they'll come out and say, well, we can't get this to work. And if that's in the middle of the heating season and we have everything working, but we can't get the software to work, we'll be replacing the software emergently. So in an emergency situation. So this is a
Right.
planned replacement of software that has come end of life.
so right now, you have no software support
No.
from, I guess, the manufacturer, is that what you're saying?
Correct.
And-
but the system's still functioning.
But can I just finish?
Oh.
So who services this if there's a problem? Like, do we have,
Automated Building Controls, this is the company that's currently servicing it.
yes, and what is their position on handling anything that
To
goes wrong with the
replace it?
software?
To replace the software?
So they are unable to assist if something goes wrong? Between now and when it's replaced, are they someone that you can count on?
So what we're stating is the manufacturer is ending the support on this piece of software. which runs the building's automation controls.
Right.
And so at some point, they will not be able to assist us, and no one will be able to assist us with it because it will be end of life.
So this company that you are using now,
Correct,
are they
yes.
able to, I mean, since we don't have any software support right now, are they able to help you at least
Yes,
in this
and they are.
current situation?
And, but we're planning on replacing the software, not any of the VAV boxes, not any of the digital thermostats. The only thing hardware-wise that's being replaced is the interface between the BAS system, the building automation system network, and all the devices on that side, and the computer network that this software is and that runs everything. So when things open, when the chillers turn on, what set points they do, how they close everything up if there's detected smoke or fire, all that stuff.
Okay, and 30,000 is what they're claiming it would cost.
Yeah, so I took a look, and it came out somewhere around, up above 25,000, but probably below 30,000. So we'll have to go out to the bid and see where the numbers fall.
Have you received any bids so far, Rich, or?
No, we talked to the one company that we currently do service with, ABC, and they projected that the cost for the software that they were proposing was going to be over $25,000. There's several out there, so we have to go to bid, sealed bid, because it's over 25,000 estimated, and then we'll see where it goes. Yep, absolutely.
Thanks, Rich.
Sure.
Okay, so Joe, did you eliminate the software upgrade or replacement here?
I just cancel it out because it is functioning, but
Well, the problem is if the company that he has that's servicing it, and I don't know, I don't see any documentation.
how long, if it went out, could it be repaired in 6 hours?
I don't know, I don't
I-
have any of that
I don't know.
information. Rich, are they able to assist us if it goes out now? The fact that it's, no, not the manufacturer. Right.
None of the people who use the support can support it because it's end of life. It's the equivalent of asking the system to be Windows 95 and asking someone to support Windows 95 when Microsoft ended support on the product, made it end of life. So,
Well, if you have a computer and your software is replaced by another, and there's upgrades, your computer still works. I'm trying to understand this situation with your service company. So the manufacturer no longer supports the software, but there's usually these companies out there that still maintain equipment and what have you that is out of warranty. I'm wondering, where are we right now with this company, and is there some leeway here between, if you replace it and by the time that happens and it should it go down, and they support you? Are you saying no? So you're saying that if something goes wrong tomorrow with this air conditioning,
or something is wrong, replace it,
right?
comes up.
And my question to you is, right now, if something should go wrong tomorrow, the service company can come out at least and get us back online.
Right, we're not talking for tomorrow, we're talking for the next one.
I understand. Okay, and if this were to be replaced, how long does it take for this software replacement?
Well, then is our system down then? Meaning people
No,
are
they'll
not.
do the programming and then switch over.
And what if the system went down? Would everything go down or just partial?
And if the software goes down, then all of them
Can you override? Yeah.
then lose all the controls and switching between different boards. Doing any of the sound systems. So will the building freeze? Probably not. Will it be comfortable? I would not.
Well, If you're able to manually run it and get somebody to put a new system in when the system finally does break, that might be a better deal, because it might have 10 more years of life in it, or 20.
You still have to go to bid, Joe. You can't just go out and buy a new system because it broke. You still have to do all of that work that takes time in order to get the replacement.
I have one last question for you, Rich. So this is to replace the software? We would never, and so this system that, is it the software that we received in 1997, or is it the whole system that was installed in 1997?
We've been upgrading the software, so it's not the original version. So, I can go back and see. But like I said, the point of the matter is that software is kind of lifetime. They don't support it. And
I understand.
this is not software that anyone can just support. They have partners and resellers of the software, integrators, and they're no longer going to support it. So that there's another company that they're going to say the same thing. That software's under life, you can't say it's the version.
I understand.
Sure, it can work, but if it does fail, the same thing like you indicated in the board. Over to be broken down and be done. So that's how all the way we're going to be. So you have to do it. If you don't do it, or it don't work, then we're going to have a problem. You do the building. It's kind of long.
All right, thank you. All right, so what else do I see? Joe, 35,000 server room AC system replacement. Is that on your list, off your list?
That's off the list.
2010 unit.
That's an air conditioning unit.
Okay.
It's running.
All right, site grounds repairs. We've covered all that. All right, so is there anything else that I missed? So Joe, what is the total? This total was 533,000. What is your total with the conversation we just had?
I haven't been making changes and adding them up with what we've been discussing, so I don't know.
Okay, so should I just run down this? 15,000 north and east repair wall and flashing and seal. Is that in or out?
So maybe he could just rework the numbers and we can move on.
Have you?
I've written down the comparisons, but I don't know where you all landed on it. The first line, the 15,000, I believe what was presented to you tonight was 5,000. Then the next two lines were a $10,000 and an $8,000 number, and what was presented to you tonight was 10,000 inclusive of both those lines. The $5,000 steel foundation cracks became 2,000. The $5,000 removal of abandoned exhaust on south wall stayed at 5,000. The exhaust fan replacement became 0. The HVAC software that you're just talking about became 0. The paint digital display sign became 2,000. The secondary electrical distribution panel replacement became 25,000. The server room AC system replacement became 0.
The distribution panel I cut to 15,000.
I thought, so, okay, so that was 15,000.
Yeah.
So which one was that? The
35,000 went to 15,000? Is that it?
The secondary distribution, the breaker panel.
Tier rating 63 electrical distribution panel, I think.
okay, that became 15.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'll be missing something here, then you'll have to correct me. The server AC system replacement, 0. The $300,000 parking lot, 0. The 15,000 retaining wall repair, still at 15,000. The 25,000 sidewalks and pavers was 5,000. The 25,000 bench replacement with 2,000.
No,
Whoa, no.
no, take,
That's staying at 25.
we're going to leave that at 25.
Right, but on the list that you provided
Oh,
tonight,
okay.
it was 2,000.
Yes.
Okay, but we need to
I'm trying to
change.
get to the 73 that he had on what he presented, then we can work with the changes that you all made. Otherwise, we don't balance, right? We're just trying to balance the numbers.
All right, I thought that's what you were doing now, but go ahead, that's
I
fine.
was giving you the numbers that were in what was presented to you tonight by the
Oh,
treasurer.
no, I was
No.
trying to go through all the changes. Okay, that's.
I don't know what all the changes were because
Oh, I thought
didn't
you
hear
said-
reach a conclusion on any of the items.
Okay, oh, sure, well, let's finish this and then we can go back and, but so far, I think it's accurate.
The variable frequency drive replacement on air handling unit 2 supply fan. I don't know what that one was.
I don't think we got there.
I think that's 0.
Variable frequency drive replacement on air handling.
That's 0.
Okay,
So there's interior directional signs of 2,000.
is that in addition to what's on?
I added those in addition to what,
Oh, okay, you know what, should we try to,
I think that Joe should go back with his numbers, because whatever needs to be presented to the other trustees.
well,
we don't need to
can't we do
spend a
that
lot more
now?
time on
Can't we do
this.
that now? I think he's pretty close.
I don't think so.
Well, if we look at the maintenance page with all those items, Brian just read off all the changes
And
in
he
the,
just read off Joe's
I read off what
proposal.
Joe had compared it to what was on here. That doesn't mean that's what you all concluded it should be.
okay, well then, Joe,
in addition to all of that, I have,
I know, wait, let's not go any further, okay. We need to come up with a number, we sat here and talked about this, and we're all writing things down. If we could just at least get this maintenance page under special reserve to be, definitive. Okay, the first building envelope repair is a bunch of items. So the north and east repair wall is 5,000. 10,000 for the south and east replace deteriorated stone sills. Removed 8,000 masonry tuck pointing. Is that correct?
yes,
The seal foundation cracks went from 5,000 to 2,000.
right,
Removal of abandoned exhaust on south wall with masonry repair, 5,000.
yes,
All right, and exhaust fan replacement is 0. And this EOLBAS software program, what did we do with that?
that was what Rich was talking about.
Right. So where are we with that?
We didn't do anything with it.
So what's the decision?
Well, I think that you should at least get some bids. I mean, you don't even really aren't
We could
prepared
put,
to
we
replace
could
it
put
if it breaks.
25,000 in for that.
Okay,
That would-
25,000. And then paint the digital sign on the northwest corner.
That was
went from
two-
12 to 2.
2,000, yes.
And the next item is secondary electrical distribution panel replacement, went from 35,000 to 15,000.
15,000,
Server room AC system replacement, 0. Site grounds repairs, the parking lot repaving and drainage.
that was
is
taken out.
0. Okay.
0, you're not going to do anything with the parking lot?
Isn't that the one which Cindy mentioned there's flooding?
Yes, there's flooding, people are falling because of
Yeah.
the divots in the parking lot.
So are
It's
we,
problematic.
with 365,000, are you saying repave the whole thing? Is that kind of what you're looking at?
It's parking lot repaving and drainage improvement so that it
Okay.
stops flooding. And it has to be supported so that the buses aren't
I totally
continually pushing it
understand.
down.
Okay, and how do we know 365? I mean, do we have any bids, quotes, any conversations with anyone on this?
Well, it's 300,000 for the parking lot.
And we came up with that because we're just like throwing numbers out.
I disagree with that. It's an educated number, I'm sure.
Based
There was
on-
thought it's not my number. I'm sure thought was put into it to the people
Do we
who
have any
talked to
quotes
the
on this
parking
or
lot.
any contacts that you?
Repair people. Yeah, it's probably higher, yeah. So it was a study from 2019.
And in 2019, we've had people falling for 3 years, and they didn't come up with something to do, at least in the immediate.
They who?
I don't know, whoever gave this.
I
study.
thought the falling was the pavers in the center had sunk down, and our pavers in the front was
Well, that
corrected
was a
last year.
That was a problem too, and that was fixed, but the parking lot is so
Right, we
uneven that
also-
people are complaining
The center
about.
pavers are the problem, that they're down like 2 or 3 inches in some spots. And that's one of the major tripping hazards there.
But we should get that fixed
I
as
don't-
well, but that doesn't remove the parking lot issue.
Okay, so we're back on the parking lot. And in 2019, Rich said someone did a study for $300,000.
150 to 200,000 replacement in 3 to 5 years, 15 to 20,000 as needed repair.
So-
But you're basing your figures.
$8,000 repair, and that was year 3, so now we're doing 4, and
Okay.
years 3 and 5, it was recommended 150 to
200,000.
at that time.
Okay.
Complete replacement of the parking lot, and that did not include the drainage.
And what was the amount for the drainage?
It did not include the drainage.
Oh, so you weren't able to get anything on the drainage?
Right.
And where are these areas for drainage? I mean, what do we do now for drainage? Do we have, I mean, I've never seen anything in our parking lot where the water even drains out. Do we have anything?
Those sewers across the entire parking lot.
Along
several are collapsed.
along the, really?
We're in the process of collapsing. So we rebuilt. Reinforced. There's one just directly to the north of the portico.
Yeah, I can't say I've seen them. Okay, all right, so, he just gave us what his information was. So he's saying 150 to 200,000 was just for paving, repaving, and then we also need to consider the drainage improvements. So the total he's asking is 300,000.
That's the total, he's to budget, yes, he's not asking for that, it's to budget, and then we'll get the bids, and then we determine the price, right?
Right.
Yeah.
We can put that in the budget and see what we get
We
with the
should.
bids.
Okay, 300,000 for the parking lot repaving and drainage improvement. All right, the next item, 15,000 for the retaining wall draining system repair. This is a problem on its own, is that it?
What's that?
Yeah, and this is no change in the truck.
There's no change on
Okay,
that.
good. And then sidewalks and pavers are 5,000 from 25,000. Joe, is this the pavers where you're saying they're down 2 inches?
These are the ones in the center by the veterans benches.
I know, but they're down 2 inches.
Well, that's some are down an inch, some are down 2 inches, you know.
So what are we saying,
it-
the whole area needs
Well,
to be
we had the
repaved?
same problem in front of the building here last year. They took and pulled the pavers out, packed in some new gravel and sand, and then put them back in place and put packed sand between the
So as you
joints.
walk into the building, those pavers.
Those were done last year.
We just didn't do the veterans benches or that
They didn't
whole
do the center,
island?
no, they just did the ones by the building.
Okay, and what did it cost us to do?
I think it was 2,000.
Yeah, so they only did maybe
They took them all out and they resurfaced.
5 feet by maybe 2 feet area, not the whole portico area. With that, and that's about, I think, like 7,200, like that. And what we're talking about are center island, the north and south islands that don't have pavers, that we remove them because they were sinking, and then they removed the pavers, and now there are no pavers there, so we can get the problem. There's
are the pavers at the entrance complete now, or are there?
Yeah, we had that addressed.
So that was taken care of last year. Okay, so you're saying 25,000 for the sidewalks and the pavers. So
Around the entire,
when you say the pavers were removed, it's, what is there now?
the under, it's like crushed limestone.
Oh, okay. Okay.
This also includes the strips of sidewalk that have collapsed down along the north end here, between the sidewalk and the curb. So you have a trip hazard because now the curb is higher than the sidewalk edge, basically. And
that's a regular sidewalk, like cement,
between the
concrete?
sidewalk and the curb, there was approximately a foot of grass or whatever, and that was paved in.
Okay.
And that paved area has collapsed several inches down, so now it's tripping hazard.
Got it. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Sorry. Yeah, so
I mean, I could hear you, I guess, the whole, that area.
I'm monitoring the sound levels and it's loud enough, but yes,
Right,
I would be louder with a microphone, so. Yeah, so it's not to address just the center
No, I
area
understand,
with the
I
flag.
get that. I was just trying to understand there's some
Sure.
differences in
Absolutely.
materials. Okay, so regarding the sidewalks and the pavers, it sounds like a larger job than we think. For 5,000 to do all of that? Pardon me? Well, actually, that walkway from the entrance, when you walk through those benches, I mean, that's got to be at least, what, 5 feet wide? And I don't know how long it is.
It's the length of 2 cars.
What they do is they pull the pavers that
Right,
exist
I'm
out.
aware of the procedure. I'm just
Okay.
trying to make sure we understand what this
If,
particular repair includes. And he's talking about sidewalks.
well, I'm talking the pavers. We probably, considering the other one was 1,700, this other, the one in the center should be, it's a little larger. And maybe it's 3,000 to do the
Okay, so
pavers.
that's that section of pavers. And did you mention other pavers elsewhere?
Yes,
Or-
ma'am.
Okay.
So there's several islands. There's the center island, the north and south islands as well, that have pavers removed. So those we'd have to put in pavers.
What's on the surface there? Gravel?
Yeah, it's the underlayment for the pavers. Like, I believe it's crushed limestone.
So nobody seems to walk in those, do they? They kind of avoid that.
People seem to walk everywhere.
Well, I mean, should we just put more gravel in there instead of doing pavers?
Again, all this stuff is out of special reserve fund, out of the savings account that there's several millions
Well,
of
that
dollars in
doesn't,
there, so.
that doesn't mean it's free
We'll-
money.
We'll use it as needed to make improvements of the building inside envelope, and, it has to come to you anyway, because every penny out of that fund has to come to the board, so. I mean, we
Okay.
can go over every single detail if you wish, so.
Okay, well, no, I just needed an explanation. So 25,000 sidewalks and pavers, Joe, you went down to 5. What are you saying we need?
Well,
Now, remember, it's sidewalks and the pavers. So-
what I included in the 5 was the pavers in the center
Okay,
and the sidewalk in the back,
Okay.
which is correct. I
And
didn't
that's-
include any of his other islands
so for
or
the
curbs.
islands, what are we talking?
I'd have to go look at them, get an idea what they would be to, some ballpark figure. But I was looking at 5 and just included
Okay.
re-leveling the pavers in the center and replacing the sidewalk by the back door that had the bad squares.
But as far as these areas that are limestone, I forgot, or pebbles, whatever we said.
There's
what-
the
what do
they're
we
like
do there?
gravel.
What do we
Gravel,
do
yeah.
there?
We could just put more gravel in there to level it out, that's all. Put decorative
So anyway,
stones.
so this item is 25,000, we're going with 5, is that the amount you're saying? Sidewalks and pavers, so Is 5,000 the number? We need to move on, and I need a
He
number.
wants to go and look at it and decide what the number should be. He can't just make it up
Yeah.
out of his head.
Yeah, we
Well,
have
he's
to
not. He said
take,
this number only includes the sidewalk and the paver.
right, the sidewalk in the back.
And that's what it says here,
Right.
sidewalk and paver. So Rich was talking.
The other
about-
curb problem and whatever, I'm not aware of it. And the other islands, they weren't mentioned anywhere.
So then what we're saying.
And there's no
is-
pavers in those islands anyway right now.
Okay, so, we can't, so we're not really talking, your sidewalks don't include the sidewalks he talked about.
No.
Okay, so then, we need to figure out what we want to do here. So this number is only part of what he's talking about. Was there not a description to explain all this somewhere?
There was no mention of
Okay,
the islands or anything else. There's no pavers in them anyway. The only areas that had pavers were right by the main
all
entrance
right, I understand.
and the
But,
center
all right, so what do
with
we
the
want to do
benches.
here? You're leaving it at 5, is that what you're saying? And then
on those
there'll
two,
be
yeah.
additional work? Maybe what we could do is.
You want to set aside maybe 10 for additional concrete work?
Sure, since we don't know what it is.
We
but I
don't know
think
what it is.
What we need, you know what, we'll put 10,000 in, but Rich, if you could give us a breakdown of what you're looking at, because if it has to go up, at least we have an idea what we're working with. That would help. How's that, okay? All right, and then variable frequency drive replacement of air handling, 20,000. That's zero.
Get the benches to
Oh, sorry, 25,000 bench replacement, yes. And zero for the,
treasurer has 2,000, we all talked about increasing that.
for what, the benches?
I thought you were talking about the veterans.
Yeah, 25 grand,
So
yes.
that's 25.
Yes,
okay.
they have to be replaced. Thank you, I didn't realize. Okay, and for this this air handling unit, it's a zero.
Zero.
Brian, can I ask you what that may have come to?
Well, I figured out the difference. I think there's 3 other items that the treasurer added that are not on this list.
Okay,
Or there's 4 items, 2,000 for the interior directional signs. But then I think the last 3 items on the treasurer's list were not in the original request. There's a $3,000 item, a $5,000 item, and a $2,000 item.
removal of
One has
unused,
to do with the roof, one has to do with bonding strips coming loose from the mortar, and one has to do with,
Recoding the elevator shaft.
so there's 3 other items there.
so where are those 3 items that?
They're not on that list. I added them. And one is for signs, interior signs for $2,000, which we should have done years ago.
Digital display signs? No,
No.
we're talking about interior signage.
Yes,
Oh, yeah, that's been part of that 6-year, what was that strategic plan that never materialized?
well, the money's there for it now.
Interior
some of it.
directional signs, I see that, okay. Right, you said 2 others?
On the prior, so if you found the interior directional signs, if you go to the prior page.
Yes, thanks.
The last 3 items on the prior page are all new items.
Inspect and seal any perimeter membrane, okay, that's on the roof, right, okay. Seal east wall bond between membrane, oh. So these were not included in the budget, in the.
They didn't ask for those. I added them on.
Cover and seal unused, okay. Well, yeah, that's something we should have done.
We should have done that last year.
Okay, I see what you're saying. All right, so Brian, and Joe, your total for special reserves would be all of these numbers.
Which totals 73,000.
Well, it's way off now because we've added
That's what you submitted, total 73,000.
originally.
That's what you submitted, total 73,000. And then you changed the HVAC front-end software from 0 to 25,000. You changed the parking lot from 0 to 300,000. You changed the sidewalk and pavers from 5 to 10,000. And you changed the benches from 2 to 25,000.
Right.
So that's an additional 325, 330, 300 and 53,000 plus the 73 is 426,000.
Thank you. So the special reserve building is now 426,000. Got it? Everybody?
Yeah.
He had that at 5. So the first line, I apologize, the first line, the 15K north and east repair wall, add flashing and seal, that was 5,000 on the treasurer's budget. Was that increase up to 15?
Because we agreed it wouldn't work just to stucco it, right?
Oh, actually, we passed that up.
We're gonna look at that. But
So what do we want to put in the budget though? So what do we, we're not talking about brick. We're talking about some kind of cement edge or something on the
It's the
bottom.
white edge.
So what
It's
Joe,
out there.
Joe, thinking of that, what?
why don't we put in what he had there, and if it comes in less,
So it's 15,000, right?
15.
Okay. Thanks for catching that.
So that would make the number 436 instead of 426.
Okay.
No, so the increases were 10,000 for the first line that we just talked about. The other increase was 25,000 for the software, 300,000 for the parking lot, 5,000 increase for the sidewalk and pavers, and 23,000 increase for the benches.
that sounds about right.
1040, 340, 345, 368. $368 plus 73. $441.
Okay, and honestly, Brian, at some point, if this budget ever gets passed, whatever numbers it'll have, I'm sure when you're applying them, there could be,
Understood.
you know, so
Understood, yeah.
that's not a problem. Okay. All right, well, thank you for that. So I think we were on the
We're on capital expenditures.
entire library capital expenditures.
Right, so the 73,000 now
73.5,
becomes
30,
what was your exact number?
441.
441?
No,
No?
463, I thought.
Oh,
Maybe I was-
you want to try it again, or should we, what should we go with?
Sorry, I thought we were done. I shut that page down. I thought we
Sorry.
had the number. $441, my fault.
That's right, all right, so it's 441, thank you for that.
Thank you.
Right, and we are now moving on.
Okay, now before you move on too far, I sent you an email correcting the capital projects equipment that, see the 533 in the 2022-23 budget, 533. And then it's, the total is 656. So the number that did not pull through was
Oh, right. the
123 from the capital projects equipment. So that line is 123, and those two lines together add up to the 656.
So capital projects equipment was 123,000. Oh, you did send,
120, oh, 123.
656. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
and what was that for, Cindy?
That is under capital projects equipment. So we have to go back to, is that from IT? 1 second.
Capital projects equipment is under, is that under maintenance? It's still in the maintenance section?
Maintenance and IT, I think.
Special reserve building. I'm not seeing it on this in maintenance. Is it under, is
It's
it
under
under
IT.
10?
It's under IT, okay.
Oh,
We can
IT,
find it under
thank you.
There's 3 things listed.
And what tab is IT?
6.
Thank you. Oh, it's right here, thank God.
It's the Technology Capital Projects Plan.
The special reserve equipment, the biblioteca, that one?
Yes, ma'am, 27,000 and then 56 and 40.
Oh, I see, there's several items
Yep, 3 items.
that came to 122,666 are now 123.
Correct.
All right, so biblioteca, annual maintenance and support, 26,666 and 50 cents. Biblioteca self-check upgrades, 56,000. Contract year 4-5, self-checks due, okay. And then CMR, wireless mic replacement and expansion project.
I budgeted just for the first item, the second 2 I took out.
Well, we need self-check upgrades.
That's we need upgrades on this self-checkout?
Is this an automatic procedure? I mean, we can't control upgrades on these self-checks?
So again, it's back to software becoming end of life and not supported. So the software that runs on the self-checks, the operating system is end of life.
It is now end of life?
It is now end of life, yes.
Pardon me?
How long has that been in here?
We put it in 2012 when we did the renovation.
And 10-year lifespan?
We have not had any upgrades?
Some software is only 3 years.
So have we not had any upgrades?
The software, that's the OS, is no longer in support, and we cannot upgrade it. And we can also not upgrade the software that is running on top of that operating system, which is the self-check software. So no and no.
So it says EOS Windows 7
Correct?
is what we have now?
Yes.
And what would we be going to?
Windows 10, extended release. They keep changing the name, but it's, that actually, Joe, is a 10-year
Okay.
supported OS, at least for now.
And that's $56,000 for 7 self-checks.
It's replacing the hardware as well, because the new software will not install on the old hardware. Yeah, of course. Even the printer has to be replaced. No drivers.
Yeah, have we had any maintenance problems or any problems with that where we needed?
Well, we have support on it, part of the $27,000.
Yeah,
So if there's problems, they come out and fix it. We had one motherboard completely die and they replaced the unit just
And
recently.
we have, what, 10 units?
There are 6 units.
6?
We took one and put it upstairs temporarily during the last 2 years.
I'm seeing 7 times self-checks. So are there?
Right, so we had 6. We took one, put it upstairs in adult services. And so we'd like to replace all 6 plus the 7th one because it was lacking on the 3rd floor. So there's one on the 3rd
Sure.
floor, 2nd floor, kids, and then 4 stations across from the patron services desk.
Okay. Okay, so once we upgrade these 7 self-checks, the maintenance support no longer will support this upgrade?
So they'll come with 1 year, and then we'll just extend the support. So the part of the $27,000 covers all 6 of the units right now, including the credit card readers. So it will just add 1 more year of support. So we'll still need to continue getting support on them.
So everything, but just so I understand, so the maintenance on all these self-checks is really,
It's a
we're in year
component.
4, is 2 more years, correct?
So it's a component of the 27,000. The 27,000 includes the automated materials handling unit, which consists of the sorter. It's a 9-bin sorter with
I
4
see that.
induction stations. So 3 facing to the public, 2 inside the lobby, 1 outside, and then 1 staff.
Right, but my question is to the self-check. So we have a 4 or 5 year contract for $26,666. And if we upgrade the self-checks now, then there are 2 years on the contract for the current software that we won't be using.
So this is support for the hardware. It's support for them coming out to fix anything with it. The new self-check equipment comes with 1 year of support,
I
so
know,
we'll
so-
extend it.
But what I'm saying is, if we replace it now,
They'll
there's
give us
no
credit
way-
on it.
Pardon me?
They'll give us credit on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you don't think that the self-checks can last through the maintenance contract and then replace it all then?
Again, we're already several years past the end of life. We cannot upgrade the self-check software
Oh,
itself.
you're right, my
So,
mistake.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's several
All right, I get
components
it.
to all of
Okay,
this.
thank
Yeah.
you, thank you. All right, that I
And
understand.
I don't feel comfortable removing it out of the regular maintenance because it's an additional year. We're not going to lose anything by,
No, I see what
yeah,
you're saying.
yeah.
I get it, thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, so this, Joe did not include the 123,000 I see on his page at all. And I think he just ran out, so if we could wait a few minutes. So Cindy, the amount is 120, it's 122,66650 is 123, it's rounded. Makes sense, yeah, exactly, okay. Is there anything else, Cindy, you noticed that was not added? I mean, at least,
No, that one was just because I had emailed it earlier.
okay.
Let's see what I have here on my list.
On the detail, Cindy mentioned on the detail, when the treasurer reviewed volunteers on the detail, he said he kept that at 2,500.
For administration.
Right, but then on the entire library, he has 500.
500, so yeah. But in administration, it says volunteers 2,500.
Volunteers in administration, is that some software program? What is that?
No, it's where the volunteers have always been budgeted in administration because they're library-wide. The money goes for all volunteers throughout the library.
Okay. So, all right, we need to check that. But I thought there was 2 places for volunteers.
Well,
Is
there's
that the
volunteer
confusion?
software that's listed in IT.
Okay, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And then,
Is that intact? Was that removed or what?
no, I don't think that was removed. I
Okay,
don't
so
know.
that's in, okay, it's the 2,500 in admin. for
Yeah, so that's
vol-
what we used to buy the T-shirts for the adults because they wear sort of like a uniform, so that they have a T-shirt, and we used to have like a luncheon to thank them for their service in the
How many
spring.
volunteers do we have?
I don't know off the top of my head.
I mean, I thought it was significantly lower. Is that not true?
Well, we're using less of them, They haven't all come back. They're not all comfortable coming back yet. So, I don't know, it's in the
50,
stat
20,
sheet every
I
month. I
mean-
just don't have it here. I don't want to.
Well, I mean, it's not hundreds, right? It's just maybe 20?
I want to say. I don't know.
Okay.
Because what's reported every month is how many people we actually have doing the hours. So, yeah.
All right, so Joe, two things that Brian brought up. Oh, right, so on this category for bibliotech and all these upgrades, the amount is 123,000 for all these software upgrades, which I think you don't have in your tentative budget. We just discussed all that with Rich.
What did you say?
We're on capital expenditures.
Yeah,
Capital projects equipment, 123,000 was not on your tentative budget, and we just went over the items with Rich. It has to do with the software upgrades for the self-checks.
yeah, we're, okay,
All right, so we're adding 123,000 for that.
all right.
All right, thank you. And then the other thing is, could you clarify or confirm your under administration services volunteer amount?
I thought that was gonna be used like for,
Party,
a party,
luncheon or something, yeah.
a luncheon or something.
So it's T-shirts. Also comes out of there are the stickers that we put on the books to mark the, how long they've been in the sale, all the little stickers, they're supplies that the volunteers use. That comes out of that line. So let me see
It just
here.
didn't pull forward to the entire library. You had 2,500 on the detail, but up on the entire library, you just had 500.
Yeah, for volunteers.
Right, it just didn't pull forward properly.
Well,
You had 2,500 on the detail. It just needs to be 2,500 for the entire library as well.
I thought I had cut it to 500, no?
Oh, you cut it to 500? That's not what I saw.
Well, it doesn't, in admin, you left it at 2,500. And admin is for the whole library, expenses for the whole library. So the other thing is, so last month there were 27 volunteers. The year before there were 36.
Oh, I see, yes, I did put it up at 2,500, and there's a conflict because I had it 500 in the other account.
Yeah,
So you're asking me where it should be.
25, I'm asking you for 2,500 because there are
Yeah,
expenses running a
2,500.
volunteer program.
okay, but I have a question. You have 20-some volunteers, they each get a shirt. I understand, and you're gonna have a luncheon, but I don't understand why stickers or labels for books are part of the volunteer line item. I thought the
Because
volunteer.
the volunteers do that work with the books. That's a volunteer assignment, and the supplies for the volunteer assignments
But
come out of the
isn't that-
volunteer line.
Isn't it for our, what do you call that, our,
Used book sale,
right, there's not a line item for that?
yeah, it's called the volunteer line. Because anything that the volunteers are working on comes out of the volunteer line.
Oh, so that's not just for their luncheon and
No,
their
it's
shirts.
their
Okay.
supplies.
All right, I was just wondering if it should be separated. I see what you're saying. Okay, so Joe, under administration,
It's 2,500. It should be 2,500 then.
What page is
The entire library.
volunteers on? Oh,
The number just didn't roll forward.
here we go. All right, I'm just trying to find the line item so I can change it.
Volunteers, it's on page 3, just the last item in operating expenses.
Okay, thank you, sorry about that.
So that adds 2,000 to the number.
So it's, okay.
So one of the things that came up just today is the volunteers are having a plant swap. You might have seen that in the newsletter. So the volunteers are having a plant swap, and part of the plant swap is that they are inviting children to plant sunflower seeds. And so they went out to buy the seeds, and there's no money in the volunteer line to charge it to. So you know, we need some money in the volunteer line, so thank you.
Okay, so that 435, 535, did that change by,
2,000.
thank you, 437?
Yep.
Thanks. Oh, wow. So, are we finished, Joe? I know I interrupted
We're
you.
at the audit expense on the entire budget, entire library,
Okay,
page
sorry,
5 of 6.
thank you. Okay, go ahead.
The audit expense, they asked 15,000 and we budgeted 15,000. No change in liability insurance, no change in social security, no change in workers' comp, no change in unemployment. And we're at the building and equipment maintenance. Repairs and improvements comes from the maintenance budget at 30,350. Contractual maintenance is, actually now was 60,000. There's a $2,000 addition for the fire system, I believe, right? Cindy, your note said something about.
Yes.
So the 60 becomes 62,000, $2,000 increase on that line.
So, but where does this repairs and maintenance 30,000 change now that we've gone through the repairs and maintenance? Did we
That's
make
in
any
the
changes to that?
maintenance department on the detail.
And we need to, the number needs to transfer over to entire library. Is that what you're saying, Cindy?
I'm asking if we made changes to that.
It's maintenance, did you say? Oh, God.
Repairs and maintenance.
Oh, here we go.
It's,
Is it broken down?
it's
that way?
yeah, on this page here, it's called repairs and improvements.
Okay,
So there's a difference in the wording. Repairs and improvements and maintenance.
went from.
Oh, yeah, it is repairs and improvements here too, so.
So 30,350 changed to,
So that number comes from 4,000 in maintenance and 58,000. The 62,000 comes from 58,350 in IT and 4,000 in maintenance.
Other way around, sorry.
What?
I have it wrong.
Oh, 58,000
58,350 in
maintenance.
maintenance and 4,000 in IT.
So where is that?
So the detail is on 76.
so Joe, are you finding your 58,350 so we can?
So remember the page we worked on, the special reserve building that we just went through?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's 2 pages before that in the bound book. It says repairs and improvements.
Yeah.
And there's a detailed list that totals 58,350.
And Joe, what did you do with that?
Is that the one that starts with doors, locks, and washrooms?
That's correct.
In my detail here, I redid that when I talked about maintenance. It's on the page that says number 2, but it's not, it's number 2 of those. It's
Okay.
within it's near the end of the,
Here's what we need to do. We need to
it's
figure
the
out.
3rd page from the back. It has the detail.
So what is your number and are you excluding something because we need?
Yeah, there was duplicity there.
Okay.
We
so-
had the repairs for the.
I know, we have to go line by line, so.
Okay,
What page are janitor and maintenance, what is it called? Repairs and improvements?
repairs and
All
improvements.
right, I got it. And now it's in the binder under, what is it? Let's see.
Maintenance.
I know, I think I have.
Repairs and improvements.
Let me see, I think I'm close.
2 pages before special reserve that we were just going over.
It's in the.
This page,
Are you looking?
Oh, I have that here.
Oh.
I'm in IT, not maintenance. Oh,
It's a detail page, actually. It's not the
it is
regular.
maintenance, correct?
It's one of those detail pages she gave us later on. It's not in the book.
It is in the book, isn't it? It's in the book.
Depends if you put it in your book or not.
Okay, it's maintenance, though. I'm in the wrong department. Is maintenance 7? No, it's not. Thank you.
Tab 5, right?
All right, oh, it's this, all right, it's the one with the yellow, right?
Yep.
Thank you. All right. Repairs and improvements. Yes, thank you all. All right. So, again, Joe starts with, oh, it is. Okay, so.
So we can go down to the second one, electrical repair and improvements. You went down from 10,000 to 2,000.
Spotlight block electric.
What has been our history in that area in a year?
Rich, can you?
Sure, like this year, for example, we only had Dave half the year, so we've been calling the electrician more to do repairs. And I think we're probably going to be about $6-7 grand this year on that, just that particular subline.
What is that for? Spotlight.
So we put in the notes companies that we've used in the past to help identify what these particular things are. So under contractual maintenance, we have the actual contracted company, but under here, it can be any company that pays prevailing wage if they need to,
What
that
are
type of stuff.
spotlights, though? That's the item.
Spotlight is a name of a company that's local in Park Ridge here. That's
Oh,
an
so-
electrician. Block Electric is
So what are the repairs we're talking about?
everything
Electrical repairs
from,
throughout the whole building?
yeah, electrical repairs throughout the whole building.
And,
So like we are repairing the bollards outside in front of the youth services office. That's one of the repairs. We're repairing the lights that are here in the commons vending area.
So electrical repairs in this area is 10,000 for the entire year?
Yes.
And these two companies that we use, since it's a $10,000,
So these are as needed.
Total.
They're not a
Right.
big project. There's, okay, this,
I understand, but the point I'm trying to make is we're using Spotlight and Block Electric. And our estimate is 10,000 for the year. Have we considered, locating other electrical companies that could probably
so they're all going to
compete with their
be,
pricing?
they're all bound by Illinois state law that the board adopts every year, the Prevailing Wage Act. So electricians have to be paid, depending on their subcategory, a certain rate.
It's true, but I don't believe, if there is such a thing as a prevailing wage, but I was told that it's not a mandatory.
It is, and
set of
the
wages.
board approves it every year.
Well, the board
July,
may
I believe.
approve it, but that doesn't mean that companies are bound to charge that rate. When you go to different companies requesting estimates on the work that you would like to have done, their prices include what they charge.
So the library cannot, based on the approval that the board does every year of the Illinois Prevailing Wage Act update, we cannot hire anyone in those categories.
See, and I was told legally that's not true. So we need to look into that because I brought that up last year's budget. So, I looked into it with last year's budget, but what I'm trying to say is 10,000 is a good amount that we could use to reach out to other electrical companies in the area. There's hundreds in the area. And maybe we can get a better pricing structure for the library. But I'll definitely look into prevailing wage because it is exactly, I thought what you thought, and I was told that I was incorrect, and this was by an attorney.
There's no project dedicated to this
There is not. The dedicated projects are in the special reserve
Right,
fund.
right. So these are just in case we have a ballast that burns out or something of that sort?
Yes.
Which happens a lot, and the light bulb changings and all of that throughout the building.
So we have
we
fixtures.
We hire electricians to change our light bulbs?
Well, it's either that or a very tall ladder.
Well, how did we
Putting
do,
staff-
did they always change them?
No, Dave used to do it, but we don't have anybody right now who can do it.
So staff in that department don't change light bulbs?
So we should restore that. I thought this was for possibly some project or something, so maybe we should restore the 10,000 and see whatever we need. It's for repairs.
I think we need to figure out what's
I-
going on.
I don't know
and
how
what-
much-
What tasks we're
It seemed to
performing.
me that Dave was, whenever some ballast or something needed replacing, he was doing it.
Well,
Yes,
he's
he
not
was
here
doing it.
now.
I
He's
know.
not doing it, and your direction last year was to outsource some of these things.
Yeah,
So that was the direction, and that's where we're going.
Well, outsourcing light bulbs to be replaced, electrically, yes, I'm talking
So
about
we
electrical,
are
needing some sort of work with electricity, and I wouldn't want to see someone who's not an electrician do that, but changing the light bulbs,
I can speak to that. We changed the light fix. So we change lamps.
elements.
So like these are lamps, and if there's bulbs, we change them. There are certain fixtures that it's hard for us to get into. We don't have either the specialized equipment or, the time to do it. So just like we have plumbers come out, we have carpet cleaners come out. We also have sometimes, for example, there's a retrofit that has to be done if it's going to LED. So then we hire an electrician to do that. Some of that stuff might be done by a new facility services supervisor, but I'm not sure. So we need to put some amount of money in there like we did last year.
Was any of that done by Dave? in the
Yeah,
past?
some of that stuff was done by
So he
Dave.
could retrofit?
Yeah, he would retrofit things.
So I can understand not wanting to have the any electrical work done by a non-electrician. But are you saying that then the only light bulb changing are the difficult ones that you can't perform, or is that everything now?
Not everything.
So do we as a
I've
li-
changed, and if you look at the reports from the board meetings, you can see in January and February, in March, hundreds of lamps were replaced by me and
by
other.
staff?
Yeah, by me, as in staff, me. So
Okay, and that's a separate type of bulb replacement or whatever you want to call it, that you, compared to why you're calling in an electrical.
Sure, so I was not going to, for example, I had an electrician go out to replace the soffit lights all throughout the building. So the part of the soffit that wraps from basically this area all the way around. I did not have the time to go out there and disassemble those fixtures because, they're sealed for weather. So it takes more time. So I outsourced that to an electrician. Just like we replace membranes in some of.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. Okay, so I guess I just needed to understand that we weren't calling in electricians to do simple,
No, we do not.
okay, this is more complicated and obviously requires an electrician.
Yes.
But again, I think we should,
It also
consider-
requires that we have the staff that can do the extra work. So we are down maintenance staff.
But is this because you don't have the extra staff or because you don't have the staff that can do it? Oh, excuse me, please do not shout. I'd appreciate it if you just let us have our meeting. Thank you.
why don't we just restore the 10,000 into that category then?
Okey doke. So have we compared your line items with these line items to see if there's anything else? So electrical went from 2,000 to 10,000, is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So Cindy, did you have questions? Joe, do you need to run through this?
Next item is the elevator repairs at 4,000.
Okay.
And then there's 3 or 4 items here that are basically duplicity, but this is sidewalks in reserve account. I thought that's where the next one was envelope and grounds repair and improvements. So I think that's what we're talking about with the sidewalks outside and the brick deterioration and the stone sills. And that. So I zeroed that in. That shouldn't be in it should be in reserve account. The next is.
So if I could just speak to that for just a moment, this $3,000 here for ground repairs and improvements, like for the landscaping, is that an example of what you just gave me an invoice for today?
Yes,
Where we
ma'am.
had to repair from the winter damage the lawn. So it's things like that that are not falling into the reserve account that repairs need to be done.
It doesn't describe that in what he's got here.
No, it takes a little bit of trust that what we're asking for here is to improve, to make repairs as needed to the doors, sidewalks, landscapes, and things that are not necessarily a project, but that things that break during the year.
I
And
have a
putting
question
money
regarding
aside.
landscaping. Isn't that covered by our landscaping company? Don't they
No,
do that?
no. We don't know what the damage is going to be when we contract with
No, but
them.
what I'm saying, I thought the contract was for a specific type of work and other things that would come up. So is that not?
What
is
has
that
to
the
be
com-
budgeted?
Pardon me?
It still has to be budgeted.
Right.
So it's the same company that's doing the fixing of the sod, but it's not in their lawn mowing contract or their snow removal contract.
Right, and so their budgeted amount is only for the snow removal contract, and then you're looking.
The lawn repair, I
Right.
mean, the lawn mowing, right?
Well,
And
I
then
meant-
other things that are added on are not
Okay,
in,
should that line item be increased for such things as this? I mean, instead of landscaping just being to cut the grass or whatever the contract is, shouldn't that have been increased? Or whatever these items are that come up
This is
throughout the year?
work as needed. I'm
Mhm,
sure
right.
we could go out and try to get a contract for any.
No, we don't need a contract, I'm saying.
Oh,
the
well, that's in the
we have-
contract.
The contract we have for landscaping already said, and any additional work. But I understand the amount in the budget is just the contract amount. Did we think that should be raised? Because this seems like a line item with walls and windows and doors and sidewalks, and we've already gone through line items that specify these specific things. I was wondering,
Again,
That
those
is-
were special reserve projects. This is incidentals that are the building envelope. So things that come up, like Cindy just mentioned, repairing sod during the winter. It got torn up.
Right.
And we're repairing it. And that's not under a maintenance contract for,
right, is landscaping's not special reserve, landscaping is its own line item, correct?
It's under contract. I think all you're asking is, should this be with contract or should this be separate?
Right, yeah, that's
What
what
they're
I'm
saying is, the contract is the contract, that's what's under the contract. Repairs come up throughout the year, and that's what's budgeted separately for the 3,000.
What did they originally budget for that? Because I lined that out. There's a
Open ground repairs and improvements was $3,000.
why don't we just put that in and
Okay. And it's going to be under repairs and improvements, and it could be the walls, the doors, the landscaping, so it's,
whatever turns up.
okay, whatever comes up, all right, got it.
Garden Club, $350. I think that's what they asked for. Generator repairs, we just had the generator repaired last November or something. I think, is there a warranty on that repair?
So we replaced the transfer switch, and then there was other work done in the previous year, but the original generator is from 1997, so I'd imagine that at any time, there might be issues with it. I can't predict whether or not we'll spend the 3,000 or not. I can't predict whether it's gonna be 3,000. It's an educated guess based on the things that we've been able to maintain with it and the cost that we have had to pay. But it is the emergency generator for the lights in the building,
Yeah.
the heat, pump, just basic heat in the winter if we lose power. So if there's a snowstorm, for example, we don't have power for several days, it'll keep the building from freezing and becoming a bigger issue, like a plumbing issue.
Would it be an idea to maybe consolidate some of these things like, let's say the generator repair and the tractor repair and some of this other stuff and put it into one account and
It is one account, it's repair and improvements. This is a sub-schedule.
why, okay, well, I see your okay. Well, we're in one major, repairs and improvements.
Yeah, we were asked, when we had things like $50,000, we were asked to break it out. So we've broken out what we anticipate spending money on out of the repairs and improvements account. Whether it actually happens or not is up to nature.
If we had zero allocated there and the generator broke, we would still pay the bill somehow.
That's
No,
a
we should have
question for
budgeted-
Cindy.
We should have a budgeted amount in order to pay that. So I think the better way to look at a generator repair is you put the $3,000. If you need it, you use it. If you don't, it'll be there.
All right.
So then, Rich, how's the 15,000 here for the HVAC and VAC equipment repairs?
Yes, ma'am.
This is for the ongoing repair work separate from replacement.
Yes. So for example, I took a look at the Carroll study and looked at things that were recommended, and I put those in the special reserve replacement. But there are many items in the building, this HVAC plant, that are not in warranty and they break and they cost money. So it's an estimate based on all the things that we have that have not been replaced. So
So that's been reduced to 10. So just taking 5,000 out of that.
We're putting 3,000 into the generator repair account.
Okay.
Next account is the HVAC and VAC equipment repairs. I've got budgeted $10,000 here. And after that is interior construction repair and improvements. And used to repair, used for repairs and wall build out, ceilings, counters, drywall, etc. $6,000 here I have. And that's duplicity from the two lines down where we have paint and art gallery supplies. And material service had a request in their budget for art gallery supplies, which we gave them, I think, $550 in that account. And that's what all they
these
asked
are
for.
two different things. So actually three different things. So the $6,000 is for construction, basically, where wall repairs, major repairs, not just painting. So that's what the $6,000 is. And walls is only one of it. So there's ceiling, counters, what have you. For example, we have wood paneling that has saturated because of humidity levels, and that needs to be addressed by a woods craftsman. So that's what that type of stuff is. The $4,000 is for painting and just repair of the paint, not the walls in the art gallery upstairs. It's not supplies for them, but Victoria can speak towards that with regards to the supplies that she requested separately in that third item that you asked about.
Landscape sprinklers, $1,000.
Wait, could we let Victoria explain? Art gallery repairs?
Supplies, because Joe was saying that it was the same.
No, they're repairs, correct?
But he mentioned that the supplies in another area that Material Services Department requested was the same, but it's not, and Victoria could speak
So
towards
this
that.
this is not Victoria repairs? I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. So our processing supplies are completely different, so things for the gallery would be like 3M strips, the paint that we would need to repair holes, and just different things that come up with the hanging of materials. So that's completely different from the supplies that we use in or material services.
Oh, sure. I definitely, I understand that. And you're asking for 4,000. And Joe, what is?
I zeroed it out because it was in the other department.
Okay, no, Joe, these are repairs.
Okay,
And the other terminology is supply.
okay.
So in the, actual upstairs where they have the art gallery,
Yes.
I could see where there's damage from hanging this versus that. But I don't think it should be 0.
No, it shouldn't be 0. But I think 4,000 is a little high for that too.
Okay. So your.
Maybe 2,000 should be plenty.
Okay, well, Sue and Joe are suggesting 2,000. So that goes from 0 to 2,000 then.
I will point out that although the note says a hint of one area, the actual description is for painting and redecorating, repairs and improvements throughout the entire building. So it does not just include the art gallery. I used art gallery as an example, but it is because the general information is for the entire building, so I didn't think I needed to repeat it. So it is actually for the entire building, not just for that particular area.
Next item is plumbing repairs and improvement. I put down $2,000. That would be for, I suppose, changing out flush valves and things like that. And then small equipment repairs, $1,000.
So again, on the plumbing, Dave used to do a lot of the plumbing himself. And so Dave is not here, so we are doing, calling out the plumbers more, right?
Yep, they're coming out tomorrow.
What's the problem?
We have a sensor issue on one of the youth services bathrooms. It just continually runs, so we shut off the water. We try to do repairs as much as possible, as much as my time allots to do the repairs. But sometimes, and they also have to come out to repair a leak for the pipe that comes out of the building to supply the sprinklers.
Did you say the sprinklers?
Yeah, the lawn sprinklers.
Well, that's budgeted up here in Western Irrigation.
So the supply for the sprinklers is handled by plumbers. The sprinklers themselves are handled by Western Irrigation, which is the sprinkler company. So this is the supply. So the plumber's coming out to address that. It's the copper pipe that leads to the supply.
I don't know what the original number is. What was the original number in that?
$5,000?
5,000.
Well, why don't we just restore it to 5 then if we don't have?
It's all invoiced in detail. So I am not keeping a separate log. I am not keeping a log, no. I'm relying on the invoicing and check the invoice to make sure it's correct to the work order that, and whether it's electric, plumbing, what have you. And then I confirm it, that was the work that was done, and then we pay it.
charging us?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Meaning like, maybe an actual invoice could be like $500 for the first time they're coming out, and then the next time it'll be $600, and it's just escalating from month to month. So we allocate how much we're actually spending each time, the actual.
So the allocation is the budget, and then when we need the repairs, we contact them, and then we make sure that they're not overcharging us. The charges are based on the amount of time, their labor charges, right? So we know how long they've been here and what they were doing. And then we try to supply parts. So whether it's electric or plumbing parts, we try to supply them unless we can't get them in time, or they're out of stock, that type of stuff.
I think what she's referring to is that we should have logs on the repairs that are done based on either equipment or problems. When you reevaluate your costs for next year for maintenance or however you categorize these repairs, there's usually a log that shows what this piece of equipment cost us in repairs, or how many times somebody came out for whatever, and it gives you a better idea of whether we should continue in this process, or if there should be a replacement, or if maybe we should reevaluate who's doing the work to decrease the cost. But I think what she's referring to is we have nothing to compare our costs with. Like, there's no analysis to try to decrease spending or maybe change the process to
Well,
something better.
we were
So
asked-
apparently you don't do that in the maintenance department?
So again, the maintenance department had changes, as I alluded to in my narrative in the budget. So part of the year, for 6 months, there was a supervisor. He retired. I've taken over since
I
that.
understand, and you're doing both jobs. My
Right.
question is,
So I
do
took the
we or
time to.
did we ever have logs?
I don't know if there were logs.
Okay.
So I
That's
took
all
the
she's
time.
asking.
Yeah, I took the time to review what work was done prior to me taking over. And then since I've taken over, to give estimates. So the estimates are based on actual work performed. I can't predict what will happen. We had an issue with the village having a water main break, and so they addressed it, but that caused fine granules, sediment to come in, and half the toilets had to be addressed. So some of them we could do, and we did, and some of them we needed to have a plumber come in. That can happen once a year. It can happen several times a year.
I
can't predict
understand,
it.
I understand.
So,
Trying to say that we
Right.
need some type of law where we're progressing.
Right, and again, so since the board's intention and direction was to hire and, to look for a new supervisor, I leave it to that process. At
We
this
are-
time, I'm not going to implement something.
Right, so we're going to, as soon as we get a facility services supervisor, we're going to start a ticketing system, which will help a lot in tracking.
Thanks, Cindy. All right, thank you, Rich. All right, so
Sure.
Joe, we left off on
Vacuums,
5,000 for plumbing repairs
Yeah.
and improvements. Okay.
small equipment repairs, I have $1,000 down. And tractor repairs, 0. Tractor is not running, or not running very well, and we don't use it. We have the lawn snowplow and lawn care guys. It might be a good idea that we just sell that.
I'm
and
just
get-
going to ask that, yeah. Okay.
Because the longer it sits, the more it's going to rust and deteriorate and age and be worthless. I'm not sure what procedure we should go through, but we should probably get rid of it.
Okay.
We
All
have a
right.
policy on that.
By any chance, does that mean that now we need a different total for repairs? And
Yes.
improvements? Thank you.
So I noted the changes on the second line, electrical repairs went from 2,000 to 10,000. Envelope and grounds repairs and improvements went from 0 to 3,000. Generator repairs went from 0 to 3,000. What What did y'all decide on HVAC and VAC equipment repairs? Did that change from 10 back to 15?
HVAC is 10.
Yeah, 10.
15 is what was asked.
We're changing that to 15, right? It's a 10, right? HVAC, I have a 10.
Correct. The staff requested 15. I didn't know if you all had.
No, we hadn't changed that one.
It's down to 10 or is that 15?
I have it at 10.
Okay, thank you. Just needed clarification.
And then the plumbing repairs and improvements went from 2005. So I show increases of 8, plus 3 is 11, plus 3 is 14, plus 3 is 17.
That's 6 in there?
What's that?
He's only calculating what you're thinking. We know what you changed. He keeps referring to
That went
the
from
other
0 to
budget.
2005.
This changes. I've been making the changes.
No, but his number, you need to make sure that all your.
Yeah.
No, you need to have a conversation with him.
Okay, later on.
No, Brian, okay.
I don't think, my kids are at home, so it's 10 after 10. So probably need to get home to my kids at some point tonight.
Okay, so in this category, we've completed it and have a total now?
So an increase of 14, 16, 19,000, so instead of 30,350, it's 49,350.
I come with an increase of 19,000. Is that what you have?
Correct.
Thank you, okay. So, we've gone through quite a bit. Thank you all for your time.
There was also, in repairs and improvements, there was also 4,000 requested from IT.
Under repairs and improvements,
E-rate funding request low voltage cabling, $4,000. Used to add or replace failed low voltage item, line, network, voice, fire,
I don't
patient
see
speaker,
that.
security cameras.
I don't see that.
Is that the low voltage repairs?
It's under IT, yes.
Low voltage repair or something like that?
Yes.
I think that's funded by, Rich? Is that low
Yes.
voltage repair funded by?
$7,800 additionally is funded by the federal government.
Is it funded for this current year coming up?
The current year
Where
coming
is
up
that?
is under review. So I believe August or September, they should have the awards.
Well, we should get a grant for that, is that correct?
Right, but the grant is for $7,800. The total is $9,750. The $5,000 is additionally for IT projects, network infrastructure, firewall switches, routers. So it's not just, I'm sorry. I skipped to the wrong page.
I'm on the low voltage.
Yeah, I just realized that. It's this, I have E-rate for both, on both pages.
Understood, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the 4,000, it's actually $17,850 total requested. Of that, the federal government pays for $14,280. And ours, it's just under, I think it's like 3,900. We just rounded up to 4,000.
Can I ask where you are? I'm on.
The detail?
IT services,
In the IT detail.
and you're looking at the original.
The
IT.
original, that's all I have.
So Joe, where is that in your tentative?
What is, I move these things around. What is the heading we're looking at?
It's E-rate funding requested low voltage cabling is the particular, it's the last page of the legal sized.
Right.
Remember we were talking about biblioteca?
Yes.
That was special reserve equipment in IT. It's the next line in that same page. Repairs and improvements.
Okay, so that's where we are. All right.
What I have here is repairs and improvements, the rate funding requested low voltage cabling, $4,000.
So that needs to, that 4,000 needs to go forward on the repairs and improvements to the entire library listing. So that 4,000 is missing.
The total is 17,000 and we're expecting a grant for 14,000. So we're throwing 4,000 into it. I didn't take that out.
No, he said it didn't transfer over to.
Right, when I look at the entire library, your notes,
Oh,
the repairs and improvements says 30.
oh, okay, so we need to add that in.
We need to add the 4 plus.
Okay,
the-
all right.
So that.
I'm not objecting to it.
Right, so that line should be 53,350.
And that's on other, or it's under
Under
administration?
the entire library.
Oh,
It
entire.
wasn't carried forward onto this sheet.
I
All right,
know.
I understand, okay. There's no objection to that.
Can I just get that number from you, Brian, and then I swear we're
Repairs and
done?
improvements on the entire library went from 30,350 to 53,000.
Thanks. And then I'll find it.
And I did not do the math for the totals, that'll have to happen.
That's fine. No, I appreciate all you've done.
Okay, I think we covered everything. Right?
Yeah.
30 to 53. 350. Got it.
All right, don't kill me. I'm going to ask one more time. For 53,350, the name of that line item, now that I found the right document, is?
Repairs and.
Repairs and maintenance.
Okay.
Repairs and improvements.
All right, so it's, oh, it went from 60 to 53,350?
Went from 30.
It went from 30,
Oh, I see.
we added 19, and then we added
The
4.
staff asked for 62,350. Treasurer presented 30,350, and you all agreed to 53,350.
Thank you, thank you.
We went up 19 in maintenance
I
and 4
see
in
it all.
IT.
Got it. All right, thank you. All right. Okay, we do need to adjourn the meeting, even though we are finished, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Well, you have to adjourn the meeting, though.
It adjourned when they walked out.
No, it didn't. So, excuse me, please stop interfering. So then what we need to do is
You can't take action without a quorum. You're not taking action, you do need to adjourn it.
but I do need to adjourn the meeting. Correct? Okay, so in order to do that, is a first and second sufficient, or do we need to take, we don't need a vote, because we don't need a vote, we don't have it. Okay, but the meeting is now adjourned at 10:15 PM.
I guess I'll call her roll that you're here. I don't know.
Okay,
Trustee Gerlach,
yes,
trustee Schoenfeld, trustee Makula,
Yes?
thank you.
trustee Urbansky, Olson,